So, well,
What's it show you?
Hunter Smith.
That's I think WBKO.
Good afternoon, Hunter. Can you hear us?
It starts with
Hey, Hunter, good afternoon. If you can hear us, give us a thumbs up. Rock on. We'll hang out right up until about 1 o'clock, see who else gets admitted, and then we'll get started.
Sounds good.
Great. It's Coach. Coach Brauer from, I don't know if I should leave him.
Will I have the ability to record this?
he can. He's welcome to.
You're welcome to record it. It is our plan to have it available on our YouTube channel sometime after it, but yes, you're welcome to record off of it.
Okay, great.
I mean, no, just might not fill the 10 minutes, and if they don't, just move on to the next one.
If someone entered in the room with a number 348-297, who do we have? All right, Tom. Seeing who that was. About 3 minutes from having Coach in. So everyone knows we will have everybody muted at the start, and then we'll open up for an opening statement, and then it's going to be through the chat feature of Zoom where we'll take our questions starting out. Good afternoon, everyone. Got a few of you in here. Of course, you got an email from our communications director, Joe Ngolia, and Commissioner Julian Tackett describing this event, this pre-media availability session. I'll just read off the email. It's due to the fact that the pregame and walk-off interviews will not be permitted this year at the Sweet 16 because of COVID-19 guidelines. Instead, we're going to use this Zoom conference with all 16 head coaches that are available to come in. And just a reminder, the process, we'll have everybody muted at the start, and all the questions you want to ask, go ahead and type them using the chat feature, and I will be able to read those off to Coach as they come in, get his answers. And then at the very end, if we have time, we can open up, unmute everybody, and see if anyone else has anything extra. So I'm Dan White, the event management specialist here at the association, and glad to have you all join us. And we're going to open up with Mccracken County coach, Brauer. We're going to bring him in now. Okay, Coach Brauer, if you can hear me, go ahead and if you could unmute your microphone. All right, Coach, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Great. This is Dan White, event management specialist at the KHSAA. We're going to give the media members here a chance to be able to ask some questions to you through the chat. But first of all, we're going to open it up with just an opening statement from you. Just go ahead and tell us your thoughts on qualifying for the Sweet 16 this year.
Well, I think the big thing was, we harped on it all in the offseason about, we had an opportunity to be last year. We really felt like we had a really good team last year, and thought we'd make a good push. We had a couple of things that we felt like we would be real competitive and have a shot to win. Losing out on that last year, man, it really motivated our kids. We kept telling them, they owe us a game, and we want our game back. So every time we kind of felt like we getting some type of lull and not be very inspired to practice hard, we would go back to, they owe us a game, and we want to work our butt and get our game back. So I think that was the biggest motivation. I think even for our coaching staff too, we felt like we want to see these kids get that game back, and that was one of the biggest joys about it, was to be able to get that game back.
Absolutely. And you look at your matchup playing Fort Thomas Highlands. Have you been able to look?
We're playing Bullet East.
I'm sorry, Bullet. I'm sorry, playing Bullet East. Thanks for correcting me there. Do you know a lot about that team yet? How much have a chance have you had to look at Bullet East?
We've got an opportunity to watch some video on them, and they're big. They got some guys that are pretty good. I know they weren't supposed to come out of that region, but it looks like to me they're awfully good. Big kid, can handle the ball and can shoot it. Like I say, I know the Fern Creek was expected to come out of there, then maybe even DeSales, but seemed like to me those guys are playing pretty good basketball right now.
And just the way the ball seemed to fall, you're playing Thursday, the 2:00 game, you could play, back to back. Do you hope for that Wednesday game, or does this a Thursday game give you some motivation?
Man, right now, at first you just want a game, like I say, in our situation, we want to win one game, and then we get to play Friday, then, we'll deal with Friday then. And then if we get to play Saturday again, we'll just deal with it. There's not really much you do. It's kind of the old system of state tournament like it used to be. So right now, it's hard to complain about anything. The year we've had with COVID and the situation of just getting back to the region, it's really hard. Our region is very competitive. I think this is the first time in, I think, over almost 10 years since anybody's went back to back. And I think maybe it only happens very few times in our region. Most of our region is pretty equally balanced.
Anyone with any questions in the chat, you can go ahead and type those in. Did have a question from Larry Vaught. Just said, Coach, just how glad are you that there is a Sweet 16 this year?
Well, we're really pleased. At first, I thought there wasn't going to be a worry. Then as we got closer to the season, it seemed like it never did clear up. And man, we started worrying, man, are we going to have a season? So, when football got going, I thought, football was going to play. Obviously, we're going to play. But then as you got closer to the year, it seemed like the numbers just climbing more and more, and it got worse and worse. So, thank goodness for the vaccine. And seemed like to me we're kind of moving out of it. But, Yeah, you're right. I mean, and we were very blessed. We were able to play a lot more games than most. We never got caught in that situation. Our freshman and JV teams did get caught in it, but our varsity wasn't. And it was a lot of managing, trying to keep guys separated just in case the freshman team got quarantined. It didn't move over into our varsity. So we were very fortunate in that part.
Anyone else from the chat? Feel free to enter a question for Coach. We can relay it to him. Looks like one just came in. From Tom Leach, your scoring is balanced, but is there one guy that makes your team go?
Yeah, I know we go with Noah Dumas. Noah's been he's kind of been our guy here for going on almost 4 years. Noah's one of the first players I know of to be in 4 regional championship games. Last year, even to get us to the regional to the state tournament, even though we didn't have it, he stepped up the line with less than 2 seconds left, down 1, makes both free throws. The amazing thing about Noah is he was named KBC Player of the Year here. He shares that with Zion Harmon. For some reason, you don't hear the name Noah Dumas when you hear about Zion Harmon, but Noah's the kind of the guy that makes us go. He's a great team player. He keeps all our guys involved. If Noah was somewhere else, he'd probably average 20, 22 points a game. But that dude's really unselfish, and he's great. And the thing about Noah, too, not only is he our leading scorer, but he's also our best defender, too. He flat will guard you in the half court, especially.
Great. Tom Barr, Pioneer News, that's in Bullitt County. He just wants to describe your team in a nutshell.
Well, I think we're kind of a blue-collar team. We don't have a lot of high-flying 6'8", 6'9" guys. We're just kind of and then I don't know how the best way to say it, maybe the blue-collar approach is basically what we do. We defend well. We feel like we've always kind of hung our hat on our defense. But like I say, we're balanced and we play good team ball. I think we move the ball well and we guard. Not a lot of Division I prospects in our program. Last year we had the Civils kid and he was a Division I prospect. Not saying that we won't eventually have some of these guys will be, but no, we're not based around one person. We call it a we thing here.
Great. I think the chat may be empty here, so we'll go ahead. I'm going to ask everyone if they want to unmute. And if anyone just would like to ask a question instead of typing it out, you're open right now. We'll do that for a minute here.
Are they playing?
Go ahead, Coach. Go ahead. What has been your question is what has the key been to our defense? I think our guys take a lot of pride in that. They we talk about it a lot in practice. We spend a lot of time about it in practice. And I think our success over the last few years in Region 1 has been because of our defense. Even though we have dry spells scoring, it seems like we find a good way to lock teams down. Even in the regional finals games, we were down 6 at halftime to Murray and was not playing well. But our ability to come out and really lock down defensively against Murray High gave us an opportunity to get our offense going, and we wasn't down so far. We kind of did basically the same thing with Marshall County in the semis. At the 5-minute mark, still to go in the second quarter, Marshall had 15 points. With 30 seconds left to go in the game, Marshall had 27 points. They had only scored 12 points for over 2.5 quarters, and that's with a 4 or 5-star point guard.
Larry, you unmuted yourself. Do you have a question?
No, I'm good. I accidentally hit that. Sorry.
Oh, you're good. Well, as we have a couple minutes, Coach, we'll go ahead and first of all, sorry for trying to put you up against Highlands and Bullitt East at the same time. But as you can probably tell, we got a little bit going on in the office. I think I've looked at this bracket so many times, I'm seeing crooked. But you could definitely just go ahead and give us a closing comment to all the media members here on just anything you'd like to say.
Well, like I say, we've been pretty blessed the last few years to have really good teams. And, our guys, it's kind of, we started to build a tradition. We're only 8 years in existence. We've won the regional 4 times. Been in the finals 6 of the 8 years. So, like I say, I'm really pleased with the way our guys have learned how to play together, even after we consolidated the schools. But the biggest thing, I've got my coaching staff with me. A couple of guys have been with me since we originally started the program. And we brought on some guys just a couple of years after that, and they've been with me the whole time too. So, like I say, we've got a good following now. We've got to start to kind of build a good tradition here at Mccracken, and I'm really pleased with where our program's headed.
It's nothing better than being in Rupp Arena in March, Coach. And this year we get a little taste of April too. So, it's pretty cool. But go ahead and feel free to log off, and all these folks will be looking forward to seeing you here in a couple days.
All right, thanks, guys.
Yep. Media that are going to stay on for the next coach, we'll have Grant Schaus at University Heights. He is scheduled for 110. I'm still waiting on Coach to get in the waiting room, so I'm going to hop off and mute. But if anybody has any questions in general or about the schedule of coaches, just put it in the chat. Good afternoon, Hunter. We're waiting on our next coach to arrive. Glad to have you with us.
Yeah, I was on earlier. I had to jump off and.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Hey,
I've not had Coach Schaus join us yet. We'll give it a minute. May try to reach out to him. If everyone can hold tight. Thank you.
About what time will this be able to be downloaded?
Of course, this is our first time doing this, so it's all a little bit new as far as that download process. I believe we're going to be putting it on our YouTube channel. And if we could get that out to you all as soon as possible afterwards, it's obviously going to be the goal. So I'll continue to check internally here while we're doing this. And if anything needs to be sent out, our communications director, Joe Angolia, will likely be the person that gets that out. But I'll continue to try to get that answered.
Thank you.
for those of us who pride ourselves in our ignorance, how do you type in a chat question?
So, Mr. Farmer, I believe down at the bottom of your Zoom, the main screen where you can see everybody, you should have, of all those icons, things like mute and participants and share screen, and a more button. There should be one of those should say chat. And if it's not visible, maybe you could hit more. There's 3 dots above it, and then chat should be one of those options. And then there should be an area where you can type it in.
Okay, yeah, I see it there. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
That from a guy that doesn't plan on asking any questions anyway. I'm just here to record it, so. Okay.
What is this shit? Does Bonnie need to?
So unless we get a late arrival, it looks like Coach Schaus may not be able to join us. If that ends up being the case, Muhlenberg County's Kyle Eads is next up at 1:20.
Does that put Coach Schaus and KHSAA protocol issues going into the tournament, or will he be okay?
Automatic technical to begin the game.
That's what I was thinking, Alex.
It's a little above my pay grade, I think, but we'll have to talk. Well, hey, we got Coach Schaus. Maybe we'll try to get him in for a few minutes, everybody.
Okay, good.
Okay, Coach Schaus, I'm gonna try to find you. I've asked you to unmute. If you, when you get that, if you could just let me know you hear me.
I can hear you.
There you go, Coach. Okay, this is Dan White, at the KHSAA. We're going to go ahead, and we may be a little limited on time, but we're going ahead and get some questions in quickly. Just give us an opening statement, first of all, just about your thoughts on getting to Rupp Arena and how much you're looking forward to this week.
Yes, sir. Really proud of my guys. I got 7 seniors on this team, and they've been playing together for quite a while, back in their middle school days, and they've got quite a resume as far as some success here, and with the type of season we had and all the uncertainty. When they came in and started, we started a little before that, but when we started playing in January, I thought the senior experience was going to be really good for us, but I think with the way things were and the way things at the time were, that it was kind of frustrating for a lot of them. And it took us a little while to really get together and come together. We lost some games early. We lost, I think, 6 games by a total of 16 points. So we were just kind of finding ways to lose games. We just stayed with it, and these guys are experienced. And I thought as the closer we got to the end of the season, they really locked in, and some of those close games that we were losing, we were able to turn around and win. So that was very exciting to get back here, and very proud of this group for being the ones to do it.
Thanks, Coach. Larry Vaught had a question in the chat. He said, Grant, what do you remember about that first game with Bowling Green, and what has to change for you to have a chance to win?
Well, first of all, we got off to a little slow start. Obviously, they very athletic, got a little bit of everything, actually. And we got off to a slow start. We got down, I think, 14 in the first, and then the second and third quarter, we actually played fairly evenly. Kind of encouraged by some of the stuff we did in the second and third quarters, but then in the fourth, they went on about an 8-0 run, I think, to start the fourth. We were down 15 to start the third. So we were trailing by 14 after 1, 15 after 2, 15 after 3, and then we just kind of got run out of the gym that fourth quarter. I think it was 27-3 or 4 on that last quarter. So played a lot of our JV there at the end. But Bowling Green, Coach Sherrill, they obviously are a very good team. Have a lot of weapons, really 2 at each spot. Got a lot of size, and that's one thing that we really don't have much of. But what we lack in size, we make up with our quickness, our speed, and our toughness, and just willingness to do whatever it takes to win. So we're looking forward to the opportunity. Hopefully we can improve on that margin. I didn't think that game was as bad as the final score, but we got to really be focused and really be physical with them, and try to take advantage of some things that maybe we can do that we weren't able to do that first game.
Great. Until we see our next coach come in, we'll coach, as long as you got a couple of minutes, we'll allow you to stay on.
I
See if
appreciate
anybody
that.
else has a question in the chat. Feel free.
I
Media-
apologize for being a little late.
Oh, maybe there's one or two things going on. I don't know.
Sure. Yeah.
Media members, you are, as I said earlier, welcome to record this if you need to pull some audio quickly. As far as the distribution afterwards, like I said, that's still getting worked out, but we'll get that information relayed to you all as soon as possible. This is scheduled to go until about 4 o'clock, so we should have some answers soon after that. Larry had another question. Any one player that really jumps out to you for this particular game?
As far as mine or theirs?
For your team, coach.
Yeah, your
yeah.
team. Larry.
Well, we've got, we have two guys that lead us in scoring. They're almost even, both right about 17. KJ Crump, been a 4-year starter for us. Played here since his 8th grade year. He's done a really good job for us. Real quick, good shooter. DJ Quarles is the other senior guard that we play. We start 4 guards, for those that don't know that. They average about 5'10" in height, all 4 of them. So, we try to spread the floor on offense, take advantage of our quickness and our driving ability. Really for us to play well, those 2 guys need to have good games. And then William Bryan is one of the other 4 starting guards, and Amani McGee. Amani came up with a huge 3 for us late in the game against Madisonville to help pull that one out. But we really rely on those 4 guys for most of our scoring. Typically, if one of them is maybe not scoring as much as their average, then someone typically picks up that slack for them, and that's kind of what's made us good down the stretch. Is just playing together, staying together, and then when someone maybe not have a typical game, someone will pick that slack up, and we've been able to have some success here late.
Great. Anyone else have anything closing for Coach? You're welcome to unmute yourself to get your question in, then we can mute everybody for the next coach. Anyone else? Last call.
Hey, Grant, I also noticed you only shot 2 free throws in that first game against them. Was that because you weren't as aggressive as normal, or their defense, or something you don't want to comment on?
Well, I think their length gives us trouble. We're not going to be able to go as maybe to the rim as much as we like against them. I have to use some more pull-ups and mid-range stuff, but I think it was really probably it wasn't a lack of aggressiveness. I just think their length really bothered us in there, and then we just really stopped attacking at that point, and kind of got away from some of the things that we do. Because we typically try to get to the line as much as we can, but yeah, their defense, their length was an issue there, but we're hoping the size of the floor might help us a little bit as far as spreading them out and trying to take advantage of some of that speed and quickness that we have.
All right, Coach, I believe that's all we have. So if you want to, feel free to log off, and can't wait to see you this week, obviously.
I appreciate you guys, and sorry for being a little late, but I appreciate y'all getting in touch with me and reminding me to get on here. So
Yeah.
Really appreciate that. I didn't want to miss this opportunity to talk to you guys. So thank you very much.
All right. Good luck.
All right, thank you.
All right. Next up on the schedule is Muhlenberg County head coach Kyle Eads. We are waiting on him to arrive if he's available. Did just get word from the office next to me, Communications Director Joe Angola. It says he is on his way. So we'll wait for Coach Eads. since we know Coach Eads is on his way, if anybody wants to pre-populate some questions in the chat, feel free. For those that have recently joined us, just a reminder that, due to COVID restrictions, there will not be pregame or walk-off interviews this year at the Sweet 16s. Those things we've gotten used to doing in the pregame are just going to be a little bit different, and that's why we are doing this for you now. It's going to be much like at the actual games this week, where the post-game press conferences will be held on the Zoom as well. So I'm sure everybody's used to all this by now after a year or more. So we are still waiting on Coach Eads. I'll give him a few more minutes, and if our next coach arrives, we may have to just move on.
Will you just send out the post-game Zoom links daily? Is that how you will do that?
All that information will come from Mr. Angolia.
Okay.
Obviously, he's wrapped up with some prep stuff now, but yeah, that's all those type things will be readily available through that normal communication that he sends out. Okay, it does look like we are coming up on our next time slot. It'd be Bowling Green coach DG Sherrill. We're if and when Coach Sherrill is available, we would probably move on to him. And I can, if we do get Coach Eads eventually, I have a couple of questions we can maybe ask him. I'm saving here, but we will now move on to Coach Sherrill. We'll let everyone know as soon as he is in the room. Fred, yes, definitely. Permission to record is allowed, or is given. It just did admit someone with a 270 area code. They could let me know who that is. It didn't last long in there. So. Still waiting on Coach Sherrill from Bowling Green. He'll be our next coach up. All right, we did just admit Coach Sherrill. We're going to let him go ahead and get in here and get unmuted and all that good stuff. Just a reminder, everyone will start out muted. We'll have an opening statement from Coach, and then if you could throw everybody in, throw all your questions into chat. I did just see from WLEX, our correspondent there, I believe it was Coach Hare had just tried to log in. So Coach Hare will get you in as soon as we can. Coach Sherrill, do you hear me?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Hey, I'm great. This is Dan White at the KHSAA, and we're doing this pre-availability session because of things being a little different at Rupp Arena this year. But I know all of our media members will have some questions for you in chat, but it's always a good idea just to open up with an opening statement from you, just how excited you are to be heading to Rupp Arena.
Okay. Yes, sir. Yeah, we are. We're tickled. We're representing a great region down here in the 4th region. It's been one of those tough years. As a basketball coach, we've battled COVID as much as we've battled our opponents. And, we've had great support all year long. Our guys have been great. Just excited to get back up to Rupp Arena. I tell my guys all the time, if your last game's at Rupp Arena, you had a heck of a year. So we're just looking forward to it. Guys are excited, and words can't explain, kind of how I feel about getting back into coaching this year and getting ready to take a trip to Lexington. So just very, very excited.
All right, we have Larry Vaught had a question. He said, Coach, you beat University Heights pretty soundly the first time around. Is that good or bad going into this game?
I think it gives University Heights a lot of motivation. We've talked to our guys this week and watching UHA play. They're a team that can hit 15 threes. They are very wide open. They play at a breakneck pace. So they're going to put a bunch of shots up. They're aggressive off the bounce. So we're going to prepare. You know, we don't pay attention to that score. That was a long time ago. They're in the Sweet 16. They're also regional champions. So we're going to give them all the respect they deserve.
Tom Leach with a question. Your team has played, by his count, 5 other teams in this state tournament field. How has that schedule helped prepare your team for this tournament?
I mean, I think, you know, we always want to play good teams and you know, I think it's to our benefit to be able to go out there and have a familiar opponents. You know, our first opponent's familiar. If we were blessed enough to get through that first round, we may play another very familiar opponent. So I think it tells our guys that we've played the level of competition you need to play to prepare yourself to play in the ultimate championship tournament.
From Hunter Smith. Coach, how have you seen your team grow and improve since that first match with University Heights?
Well, we were without a couple of players then. I've added a 6'7" Jacoby Huddleston since that game. So we've gotten a lot bigger. Connor Cooper, our kid that was our starting quarterback for our championship football team, had a broken hand. So we've gotten some players back. I think we're better defensively than we were then. We were shooting the ball really well when we played them the first time. We've not shot it great down the stretch, but I think we've done a much better job of keeping guys in front of us, rebounding the ball, and playing a lot better team defense.
We're here with DG Sherrill, the head coach of the 4th Region champions at Bowling Green. Anyone else has any more questions, feel free to log those into the chat. A little different way of doing things, Coach. You know,
I understand.
Whatever it takes, right?
Hey, you know, it allows you just to get there and focus on the game. You know, it's you want to do the media stuff's great. I love doing all the media stuff, but it does, you know, everything's a little different this year.
Okay, Greg Stottlemyre had a question for you. He said, more height than most teams with your squad. How do you utilize that to your advantage?
Well, I think, you know, you want first of all, I have to challenge my big fellas to guard on the perimeter a little bit because, you know, especially in that first round matchup, you know, they don't have a traditional post. They spread you and make you guard. So, you know, while we have an advantage with height, we also are going to be a little bit of a disadvantage because we got to keep those guys in front of us, and that's going to be a challenge for us. But I think we are really challenging our guards to play through our bigs a lot more, get them a lot more touches. You know, that's why you can only stay in that lane 3 seconds. You know, you want to play in there with the big boys, get them touches, and try to get out and break as fast as you can with our guard play.
Larry Vaught did have a question. I think he's interested in knowing just how good is Ballard, one of the teams in this field.
I got to see them up close and personal. You know, it's a 4-point game with 3 minutes left between us and them. And their big 6'9" kid comes out and hits 2 straight threes to put them up 10. And that wasn't in our scouting report, obviously, but then it changed how we had to finish that game. But they're exceptional. I think Chris Renner's as good a basketball coach as ever coached in our state, not just now, but ever. And so they'll be in there, and it'll take a heck of an effort for anybody to beat those guys.
Keith Farmer logged a question. Get the name and the pronunciation. Turner Buttery or Butry. Talk about his game and how you see him developing at EKU at the next level.
Turner is one of the hardest working, hardest playing kids I've had. He, if y'all know it, but he led the state in free throw percentage this year. So 94 point something percent. Every three he shoots, I think, is going in. He's a phenomenal. We even call him layups. When they let go, our bench will say layup, you know, when he shoots a three. He's much improved defensively. You know, we've really challenged him to guard other people's really good players and keep those guards in front of him. He's extremely athletic. He takes, you know, he goes in and takes a pounding. He'll attack that rim and get knocked to the floor, and he bounces right back up and goes hit those free throws. So, you know, he's a heck of a player and going to have a really good career at EKU.
Probably getting close to some of our last questions, but quickly, Hunter Smith says, what does your team need to do to have a deep run in this tournament?
One game at a time. One game at a time. I don't think you ever, you know, our guys don't really know who plays in the other game that we play the winner of right now. Our focus is on University Heights Academy. They're a quality team. You know, when you get up here and you start to pomp and circumstance kind of look, you're not here very long. And so as I told my guys, you know, you want to make sure you have a singular focus on the game in front of you. You prepare for that game. You prepare for that opponent. And then, you know, crazy things happen in front of you. You never know who's going to win games in other places. That's things you can't control. So you try to to control what you can. You try to limit distractions as much as possible and have your team, I told my guys yesterday in practice, we can celebrate all this when we get home. Let's just keep a singular focus now on the game in front of us.
Last call for a question in the chat. Coach, I think at this point, you gave us some awesome answers, a really good interview. Hopefully some good content for these guys to run with. We just can't wait to see you this week. It's going to be great.
So thanks, guys, for having me on. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, Coach. Feel free
All
to
right, have a
log
good
off.
one.
Yep.
All right, buddy.
All right, when we look at our schedule, James Hare, who tried to log on earlier, apparently, hopefully he'll join us here in the next minute. As soon as we have Coach Hare from Elizabethtown, we'll hop back on. Do have Coach Hare joining us here briefly. Just 1 second. All right, Coach, if you could just let me know when you can hear me. Coach Hare, just let me know when you can hear me.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, Coach. All right. Joining us now from the 5th Region Champion Elizabethtown is Coach James Hare. Coach, we'd love for you just to give us an opening statement on your feelings of advancing to this year's Sweet 16.
Well, it's a bit of a relief. Last year we won the region. 2 days later, everything got shut down. Looking for a chance to get back here. And it's not an easy thing to get out of the 5th region, but these guys worked hard, been through a lot of adversity as everybody else has, and just glad to get the opportunity to go back.
And if anyone has any questions, feel free to send them into the chat. Did have Tom Leach looking for some pronunciations for Jacquees Franklin and Kai Sherrard and Alondre Murphy. I don't know how I did there, but maybe you could correct me.
Well, you did okay. It's just Jacquees Franklin and Kaya, Sherrard, and Alondre Murphy. Yeah,
okay. Good. Thank you. From Mr. Leach, do you see any qualities in this team that remind you of your state title team?
Totally different teams. This team is much smaller, very guard oriented, very tough. I do have, one player on this team. His father played for him on the state championship team, Chris Williams, and his son is Camden Williams. So I guess that's a connection.
Everyone else, feel free to send questions into the chat for Coach Hare. Now, one thing, Coach, when you look at the bracket, this is always the question you get playing that very first game in a year where we've been waiting for the Sweet 16 after what happened, of course, last year. Just what's your thoughts on having to be the opening act?
I particularly, I like it. There's no waiting. You're first, get it out of the way.
Sure.
Good or bad, you get it behind you.
That's awesome. Fred Cowgill did have a question. He said, talk about the challenge of winning the Sweet 16.
Well, it's in every tournament, the perceived best team don't always win. Not saying that we are, but surprises happen. One bad moment happens. It's it is a challenge to be any type of tournament, and we're looking forward to the challenge, and we're just grateful for the opportunity.
What do you know? This is from Brian Milam. What do you know about Knott Central?
I mean, extremely very little. Seen them on film a little bit. They are they sound like a well fundamentally sound team. They, as any team that we play, size is a factor, and they are bigger than we are. They are it's like they're bigger in every position. So I mean, we will have our work cut out for us.
What are your concerns? I mean, this is from Tom Leach. I think you kind of just hit on it, but what are your concerns about the matchup?
I mean, like I said, they are bigger than us. We have to. It's kind of hard to tell overall team speed by watching the video, and they are just they are a challenge for us because they are bigger and they do shoot the ball very well. And they seem like they're fundamentally sound, have good guard play. So like they are, like I said, it's just a tough matchup.
How do you counteract that?
And maybe try to, get up on their guards a little bit more, trying to speed the game up a little bit. But then again, they might like a fast game. I don't know. I mean, I think they're averaging 70 points a game. So, they're doing something. They're not walking the ball up all the time.
All right. Everybody doing a great job getting questions into the chat. We're welcome to a few more if anyone has any for Coach. Thanks for joining us on this, Coach. I know there's sure plenty going on for you, but this is a unique year, so a unique media availability. So we really appreciate you being able to join us.
All right. Thank you very much.
Give it another minute here. Last call for questions for Coach Hare. Well, Coach, we're going to let you get on and get back to preparing. I know, as we talked about, you got that opening game, so it's a short turnaround. So really appreciate you joining us.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Muhlenberg County Coach Eads, I believe I just asked you to unmute if I'm on the right account. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. Absolutely. There we go. We got a few minutes before our next coach. So I think we could probably, just so everyone knows, this is from Muhlenberg County. Coach Eads had to join us a little bit late, but he's here now. Go ahead and add your questions to the chat if you have any for Coach. And first of all, give us an opening statement just on your thoughts about making it to this year's Sweet 16.
Well, obviously it's an honor. We've obviously put in a lot of work. Different circumstances. I know everybody can attest to that, but no summer, no fall. Got started a little bit later in October than what we normally would. Had a 3-week layoff before we got started. No games in December. So to be honest with you, we didn't really know what this year was going to look like. Really proud of our kids. I mean, I feel like they've handled the adversity really well. I mean, they've kept their head up. We really talked earlier in the year about trying to just kind of focus on the things that we could control and let some of the other stuff go. We knew that we would have to be even keel. There would be some highs and lows along the way. We needed to stay even keel to be able to kind of, sustain any kind of consistency that we could get. And I feel like our guys have done a bang up job of that. We've been fortunate to win several in a row now. Of course, anytime you hit a winning streak, that bullseye gets a little bit bigger on your back. So, to be able to go into the district tournament and the regional tournament and go one game at a time and be able to finish the deal, very proud of our young men.
From the earlier time slot, we did have a question come in from Blaine Fintress. He wanted to know, what have you learned about Highlands leading into that first game?
It's the tough thing for me on that is, we didn't play until yesterday, and I started to kind of take a look at Highlands a couple of days ago, and then I closed the video out pretty quick because we hadn't finished our tournament yet.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't want to jinx this thing. So got a chance to look at them a little bit last night, a little bit this morning. They look like they've got excellent length. They shoot the ball exceptionally well. They've got a legitimate Mr. Basketball candidate, Sam Vinson. He's a load, getting into that lane and being able to keep him in front. When you got a guy like that, and you got shooters around him, it's going to be very difficult to defend. So we know we've got our work cut out for us in that first game.
A little bit of work for you to do here. I got Mr. Leach definitely is interested in getting your names correct when he's on the air. And he wants to know about the last name for Loven. Is that how you say it?
It's Lovin.
Lovin. Okay.
Yeah. And if you call him Loven, you're not the first person who said that.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. And then the first name is Caden Ray.
Caden Ray.
Okay, great.
We have another kid, Trey Lovell.
Okay.
So a lot of people, they mix up Lovell and Lovin.
Gotcha. All right, Coach, well, we're going to wrap this up with a question from Greg Stottlemyre. Coming from a basketball-rich family, is Nash a true coach on the floor type player?
Yeah, he's made it a lot easier for our coaching staff, throughout the year. He notices a lot of things that sometimes we might not see from the sideline. And he, as he's gotten older and more experienced, he'll come over and say, "Hey, coach, let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at that." So when you have a guy out there on the floor that can, that possesses that kind of IQ, it definitely makes things easier for everybody else. And he's one of those guys, he can score, but, he also makes everybody a fraction better as well. So that always helps.
Well, hey, Coach, I know I can speak on behalf of the media. We really appreciate you hanging out so long to get on the air. Sorry we had some confusion getting you in, but
No
we
worries.
got it done.
I appreciate you having me.
Yeah. All right, Coach. See you this week.
All right. Thank you.
We are going to be able to go ahead and roll right into letting Jason Couch in. Of course, Jason, the head coach of our 6th region champions from Bullitt East. They are scheduled to play Thursday at 2 p.m. against Mccracken County. We will see if we can get Jason to unmute. Coach Couch, can you hear me?
Yeah, let me turn this up just a little bit.
Absolutely. Take your time.
Trying to.
In a non-typical year, we will have a non-typical press conference. This is what we're all getting used to.
All right, I'm good now. Thanks.
Okay, Coach, this is Dan White, event management specialist at the KHSAA, leading you through these interviews. We do have a good amount of media members on with us, and what's the process is they're muted, and they're going to write questions on chat, and I'll relay those to you. But to get it started, let's go ahead and hear an opening statement, just about anything you'd like to talk about as far as some excitement of qualifying, just anything about your team.
Well, yeah, it's we're definitely all a little surprised. We lost 9 guys, 9 letter winners from last year's team. We only had 6 guys back. We liked the 6 guys we had back, but we lost 6 seniors and had some guys that left the program, and we just felt that we had a chance to be pretty good, but we knew it might take us a little bit just to get some experience. We had talented kids that had played well in lower levels of the program, but they just needed some of that experience. And we weren't sure about exactly what we had just because of COVID. I mean, no summer basketball. And if there was probably ever a year that we really needed some of that time, it would have been this year. But But everybody was in the same boat. So just, we kept getting better every week, and these guys really bought into, what we were asking them to do. And it's really exciting for our community. Mount Washington really supports this school. And, it'd been 9 years since they had won the region. It's my 5th year here. And so so these guys were ready to really support this team. So we're just really excited and look forward to playing on Thursday.
All right, Coach. This question's always fun. Just talk about the challenge of winning a Sweet 16.
Well, I'll be perfectly honest. The experience, I'll tell you how tough it is, and I'm not trying to sound arrogant, but when I was at Eastern, we were ranked 13th in the country, and we were really, really good back in 2011. And man, we had a tough draw. We ran into a guy named Anthony Hickey, and we weren't able to do it. So it's you need so many things to go right. You've got to play 4 really good basketball teams. You got to have some depth because logging minutes, logging 30, 31 minutes in a state tournament game at Rupp Arena is just a lot different than logging 30 minutes in a regular game. So you need some luck, and obviously you got to have some talented kids. And but every team we've taken up there since I've been head coach, it's just still one game at a time. You can't look ahead. You can't worry about the other bracket. You just always have to just concentrate one game at a time. And so, our focus is on Mccracken County, who's a very good basketball team. Coach Brauer, he's done a great job ever since that school was formed, and we know we've got our hands full on Thursday.
This is from Fred Cowgill. He was asking, does this whole experience mean a little more to you about just everything that's gone on in the past with, health issues, whatnot?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I would be lying if I said that I've not thought about that Saturday morning in 2011 a lot. And that was a great bunch of kids. And the irony in all that is the other semifinal game was Bullitt East. Coach Troy Barr, who was at Bullitt East, back then, he hired me here. He was the athletic director. And, we would joke, but we would kind of be a little sad when we said it should have been a Bullitt East Eastern final. So I just think for both of us, for me and also for the school, just it means a whole lot that we've been there before. We've been so close, and then also for me personally, for sure, having a kidney disease and being in kidney failure when I first got the job here, I declined pretty rapidly after I'd taken the job, and so obviously I appreciate it a whole lot more probably than I once did. I always felt like I had a pretty good perspective on the game, but and just having my support system, my family, and I can't mention her name enough. My cousin Kelly Moyer, what she sacrificed, in donating her kidney to me. So it sure meant a whole lot. I know just to win Saturday night, but not only me personally. When you get a group of guys, that will believe in you and believe in what you're trying to do, it means a lot. So I'm just really excited for these boys, and it does. I think we're going to try to enjoy it a little bit more than sometimes you do. Obviously, we want to go win all 4 games this week, but I told him yesterday, I was like, I don't want you to think about anything else but enjoying the region title, because that's you don't get that every year.
Does your past experience in this tournament help you at all when you talk to the current guys?
Well, I thought it would, but there's this thing called COVID-19 and all these things that I thought I would know how it would go is all completely wrong now, or just different, I would say, not wrong. But I still think, there's a little bit of an edge, the fact that you've, been there before. But, when you look at the entire state tournament, I mean, there's a lot of guys that have been there. You look at the head coaches on these 16 teams, and there's a bunch of guys that have been here and won games, state titles, been in the Final Four. So I do think that, that'll help calm our team down a little bit, hopefully. But it's still, there's a lot of excitement, especially for them because these kids haven't played in it before. So, but hopefully, we can do some things to calm them down and get ourselves off to a good start.
Gotcha. I have to look that up. COVID-19. See if it's on Wikipedia or something. Did have a little bit of work to do here for you. Tom Leach, of course, is going to be our radio call. He was wanting to get some pronunciations. He did list the name Brogan.
And that's
Caden,
correct.
Okay. Caden Russ.
Yep, that's correct. Caden.
And Caden Snyder.
That's correct.
All right.
Caden's good.
Pretty good. 3 for 3. Okay. We do have time to let Coach stay on for a minute here. I do know Coach Renner is waiting on deck, already in the room. So we'll try to stay on schedule. Anybody with any last questions in the chat? Looks like we don't, Coach. So if you would like to say something in closing, and then we'll go ahead and let you log off.
Well, I think something else that'll also help is anytime you've got, a really good coaching staff and we've got a couple young guys, Ryan Schnellenberger and Travis Donovan, that's just started helping this first year, and they're young guys. And their first year as an assistant coaches, they're getting to go to the state tournament. So something else that's really nice for me is my top assistant, Corey Craddock. He has 4 years of head coaching experience at North Bullitt. So that's, anytime you've got a guy that's been in the hot seat, I think that always helps you. But I know that, we're real excited about putting a game plan together and taking these guys on Thursday.
All right, Coach. Well, thank you so much. It was really awesome interviews that we got for you. And thanks everybody for the questions, and we'll let you log off.
Okay. Hey, thanks.
Yep.
Good to see you, Keith Farmer. I see my other Louisville guys, but I haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. Thanks, guys.
All right, up next for the 7th Region champions, Ballard, Coach Chris Renner. He has been admitted to the room, and now we're just going to wait and see when we can get confirmation that he hears us. Coach, I've asked you to unmute, so as soon as that's done, just let me know you're here.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
So, this is Dan White, event management specialist at the KHSAA, and we're proctoring you through these pre-media availabilities. We got a good amount of media on the call with us, and they're going to stay muted and ask questions in the chat to start out here, and I'll relay those to you. But to get us started, just an opening statement from you on just your thoughts about qualifying for this Sweet 16.
Well, first of all, I'm glad you got some of these guys muted because I see some of their faces, and I probably wouldn't be able to say much with them on here. But anyways, just so excited to be a part of this state tournament. I mean, just got to feel blessed that we have an opportunity to play. This has been a crazy year, as we all know. The challenges, I'm sure every coach has said how challenging the season has been. But the fact that our school board finally made a decision to allow us to play, and our JCPS, and the fact that, we had that opportunity. I mean, I think myself and our guys, we appreciate it every day. It's been nice too, because during that time when we weren't playing, or at the beginning of the time where we started to practice and play, it's kind of ironic that Alan Feldhaus had been kind of a guy that I had been talking to about, some ideas and some things that would maybe help us transition into the season. So here we are now. It's the end of the season, and I get to go against him. So I think I'm excited about that as well.
Fred Cowgill had in the chat, just wanting to know about the challenge of winning a Sweet 16.
Wow. I guess I've just been so blessed that I've had the chance to be in so many state tournaments and make, championship games. And, it kind of stinks at the same time that these kids aren't going to get the full experience. I mean, even the Zoom stuff we're doing right now and all that, it's so different. But at the same time, what they don't know, they don't know. And so we're just trying to make it as much of a great experience for them as possible. It's a tough turnaround from the regional tournament. To get yourself up and prepared for a regional tournament. And then within a week, now you've got to get ready for a state tournament. That's something that the colleges have to do as well. from conference tournaments to NCAA tournament. But that's the challenge we have right now. We'll take it. Beats the alternative of not going like last year or any previous year. So we're excited about this opportunity.
To piggyback off that question, Greg Stottlemyre just making note of how you have made several runs deep into this tournament. How do you translate that experience into advice to help these current guys?
Well, I think I saw something there kind of about the 2013 state tournament against Madison Central. And anything in life, you're relying on a lot of your past experiences unless you haven't had those. My first year in the state tournament in '99 was my first time in the state tournament. And so since then, I've had a lot of opportunities to just kind of get feels for the first round and as you continue to advance. And, I think the guys trust us. They trusted us with the regional tournament that we had been in 7 straight regional finals, and we had won some, even though we didn't win them every year. We've had success. So I think the players trust the coaching staff that we know what we're talking about. In terms of 2013, I've said this so many times that, the loss of winning in those championships, yes, it hurts, but at the same time, there's always another side to the story. There's another team. And I can tell you that all of those championships that I've lost in, I've built relationships with the other coaches. And Coach Feldhouse and I have built a strong relationship since 2013, and we enjoy the conversations with each other. And we both sell fireworks in the summer, even though we do it for different companies. But we've really developed a friendship that started in a championship game. And so, if we lose, whoever we lose to, if we do, I'm happy for that other coach because he works as hard as I do, and those players work as hard as our players. And you just hope you're on that winning side.
Yeah, question to kind of put you on the spot a little bit. They want to know, where does this team rank when you look at all the special teams you've had at Ballard?
Man, I think I'm done ranking, teams and players that I've had, because I don't want to rank players. I did it one time and I hurt a player's feeling that I didn't put him in my top 5. And,
sure.
In terms of ranking teams, it's just so hard to tell. I mean, obviously the one you always got to rank is the one that's won a state championship. And so then you go next to the ones that made it to the finals. But there's so many variables when it comes to it in terms of draw. I mean, maybe my 2 best teams after we won it in '99 didn't even make the state tournament. We had 2 teams, 2000, 2001, that were nationally ranked. We were in as high as top 5 in the country, and we didn't make it out of the region. So this is we got a really good basketball team, a great group of kids that have bought into what we've asked them to do. We started out the season losing our starting point guard from last year. We lost him in the preseason, the 2 weeks we got before we started. And we had to make some adjustments, and our guys have bought in. They've accepted roles. Guys have stepped up, and they've embraced the difficulties and the challenges that we've had to face this year.
Larry Vaught had a question. He wants to know how good does Madison Central look from what you've been able to gather so far?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I've seen probably 3 minutes of Madison Central. My coaches are working on it right now. Unfortunately, I'm doing tickets and hotel and travel and all the little things that people don't really understand that go with it, meetings. I can tell you this. I know if they're capable of beating Lexington Catholic and Frederick Douglass in a week's time, then they're a darn good basketball team. I know that Coach Feldhouse is a tremendous basketball coach. It's a school that has great pride in their basketball. They've got talent. So we know, to be honest with you, this is probably the toughest first round challenge that I think I've had in my 9 years in the state tournament.
You've talked about this a little. Brian Milam did specifically ask about your relationship with Alan Feldhouse.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Feldhouse and I had played some previous years before 2013, but I think when you make it to a championship game, it could be a district or regional or even state tournament, and when you get to that championship game, there's such a healthy respect and bond that is created, and we kind of. It kind of fell into place. And even though they broke our heart, I mean, we had that game won, and they just made the plays that they needed at the end to win it. and maybe because I've won a championship before, it wasn't as big of a deal to me, but at the same time, it stung. But those games bring a bond that lasts, I think, a long time. And I saw that Keith put something about better fireworks salesman. Well, his tent might do a little more money sales than mine does, but I think I'll put my sales up against him any day of the week. But it was fun this summer because we were both killing it with fireworks, and we were just calling each other and texting back and forth about where our numbers were and how things were going. So that's been a lot of fun as well.
Yeah, I didn't think we were going to get into those hard-hitting questions, but what do you do?
Yeah.
We'll wrap up with this one. Greg Stottlemyre said, "What went through your mind when you saw that Lex Cath score with Madison Central?"
I mean, I'll be honest, it wasn't surprising because I know the job that Madison Central coaching staff does. I know the tradition. I tell you what, this year nothing has surprised me. You watch college basketball, you're blown away at all the different scores that take place and upsets. And so, I knew it was going to be the same way, even with high school basketball. And, Coach Feldhouse and I talked a bunch during the season, and he had so many different COVID issues that we didn't have. He had a bunch of kids that were missing. He was playing games with 7 and 6 guys. And, we were actually supposed to play, and we had worked out a couple dates to do that. And it just kind of turned out where we both ended up deciding, hey, let's not do it right now. It wasn't like we envisioned playing in the state tournament, but nothing surprises me, but that didn't surprise me at all.
Awesome. Well, we thank obviously the media for getting all these great questions in, and of course, Coach, for you for taking time in a busy week to go ahead and knock some of this stuff out. So,
all right, thank you.
Yep. All right, everybody, we're getting into a little bit of a flow here. We do have the Region 8 champion from Oldham County, head coach Coy Zerhusen. He is being admitted now. So as soon as we get him in the room, we'll go ahead and start taking those chat questions. Coach Zerhusen, as soon as you can hear me, go ahead and unmute yourself and just let me know.
There you go.
There we go. Hey, Coach. This is Dan White with KHSAA here, just proctoring these new format of pregame interviews. Obviously, we're not going to be able to, because of COVID guidelines, do a lot of the same pregame media events that we typically have at the Sweet 16. So this allows our media across the state to go ahead and get the sound bites and the questions and things they need to get to you. So we're going to go ahead and let them start filling that chat box up with questions. And while they're doing that, if you could just provide an opening statement on just how excited you are to bring Oldham County to Rupp Arena this week.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of the coaches are kind of saying the same thing, but with this year, it's been a challenge. Every step of the way, it feels like we haven't been able to get any continuity. I think we only played 14 regular season games, stopping and starting. And so with the group that we had returning from last year, which we won 30 games, and we had basically 5 starters back, so we had a lot of expectations. And our guys, they've been great. They've really worked hard and stayed positive through everything. And it was pretty emotional Saturday night, winning and kind of going through everything they had to see the joy and the celebration on our guys' faces was well worth it.
Freddie Cowgill had the question, why is it so tough to win a Sweet 16?
State of Kentucky, when you look at it, there's only one true winner. That's what makes it special, and so you got to beat everybody. Pretty much is how it works. It takes a lot of luck at times. It takes a very good team, good coaches, good draw. But there's so much talent in our state. There's so much good coaching in our state, and it's something really special. And it's a privilege to be here in the Sweet 16, and it means a lot to our community. There's a lot of guys through history, in the area that played in the 2000s and the 80s and the 70s, you know, with a lot of tradition for Oldham County. So they understand what it's about around here. You know, it's pretty special. And, you know, like I said, it takes a little bit of luck, and hopefully we can get some of that starting on Wednesday.
Absolutely. Tom Leach has a question in. He also wants to know about Slesher. Is that how you pronounce your student athlete?
Schleister.
Schleister.
Schleister, yeah, a little different.
Okay. Well, hopefully Tom gathered that. And his question is, you only went one stretch this year with as many as 6 games without a COVID cancellation. How did those affect building this team to peak at this time of year?
Yeah, you know, so we started late. Our district started us a couple weeks, you know, into January versus starting right after New Year. So, you know, that slowed us down a little bit. We also, you know, we had a shutdown right at the end of January, then another one right before postseason play. So it definitely made it challenging, along with the snow mixed in. You know, it felt like we could never get games in, and then our makeup games were getting canceled as well. You know, so it made it difficult trying to get that continuity. Luckily, we had some guys that had been through a lot of the battles, which helped a lot. You know, I think it took a toll on some of our younger guys, not quite getting up to speed like, you know, we were hoping. They kind of got thrown in the fire of the postseason in a couple of ways. But, you know, it's getting our guys every stop with a good attitude. You know, they were disappointed, but, you know, they went to work. You know, they were running on their own. They were shooting on their own. They were getting on the Google Meets and watching film. And, you know, they took it in stride, and we were, you know, we took the mantra of one day at a time, and, you know, wanted to make sure that every game, you know, meant something to us, because we never knew, you know, when it was going to shut down. So definitely made it tough. And, you know, that continuity, you know, kind of messed with us quite a bit, but we battled through.
Thanks, Coach. Brian Milam had a question, and it is, what do you see from GRC players Jerome, Morton, and Jared Wellman?
Yeah, they're tough. They've been through the battles as well. You know, they've been playing for a while. I think we played Clark 2 years ago, I believe, and they were some of the younger guys on that team. But, you know, they were good then. You know, very talented. Put the ball in the basket. I've watched a couple films, and, you know, they can do it, you know, both inside and outside, getting the free throw line. You know, they play an aggressive style, both offensively and defensively. You know, they've got free reign to go make plays, you know, and you put, you know, good athletes in that kind of, you know, situation where they feel confident to go, you know, let their talent show, then, you know, that's very dangerous come postseason. So, you know, we're going to have to do our best to slow them down, to make them feel uncomfortable. You know, we definitely have to rebound the basketball, you know, with their size and their physicality. You know, we know that that's going to be an issue for us, and then we've got to handle their pressure. You know, they don't throw all out pressure on you. They do a lot of trapping and using their length, you know, to try to get you off balance. And so we got to make sure that we're moving the ball without turning it over, and trying to play to our strengths as best we can.
Tom Leach wants to hear your biggest concern about the matchup with GRC.
I think it's the two players we just talked about, Jerome Morton and Jared Wellman. You know, like I said, those guys are any given night can put up 25, 30 points. You know, you saw in that championship game against Campbell County, you know, Morton just, you know, he got hot, but he was attacking. Wellman wasn't shooting the ball well, but you look and he still ended up with 15, 20 points off putbacks and getting to the free throw line. You know, they're very dangerous when it comes to that. But like I said, they've got guys that have been through these battles too. You know, Coach Cook does a good job of getting them prepared and playing an aggressive style. So, you know, it's a tough matchup starting off, but one our guys are looking forward to. And I think that our styles kind of, you know, they're kind of similar. And so, you know, we're going to use our length as best we can, and try to get after them and trap them some, and hopefully slow them down.
Brian Milam had a fun one for you. He wanted to know if you got any tips from your old coach, Billy Hicks.
Oh shoot, Coach he's living the good life right now. He didn't have to go through any of this. he's probably down fishing somewhere right now. But no, I haven't talked to Coach in a little bit, but I'm sure he's doing well with chasing his grandbaby around and enjoying fishing and not having to deal with this COVID mess. But he always, you know, this time of year he loved it. He loved that Kentucky basketball was all about. And, you know, he thought very highly of this tournament, and obviously, you know, is very successful in it. So hopefully he'll be watching, and we can, you know, put on a show for him.
Great. I know we have a couple of minutes left in your time slot, so if anyone wants to pop in some more questions, we can absolutely take them. A little different way of doing things, Coach. So, you know, but
Yeah,
I
for
believe
sure.
you're used to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we got one to end on, and just kind of piggybacking off the last question. How much of your coaching style did you get from Coach Hicks?
Yeah, so I mean, I played, you know, 4 years for Coach, and you know, I got the opportunity to play with you know, Rick Jones, Mr. Basketball, and Scott Hunley, and A.W. Hamilton, you know, some of the, you know, real greats of high school basketball in state, and a couple Mr. Basketballs. And you know, the thing that he taught me the most was just having that confidence in your ability as players, you know, to build your skill level to the point that you felt like you were better than the five across from you. And not in a conceited way, but just you know, confidence in how you played, and then letting your talents go. You know, defensively, we try to emulate getting up into it, and I don't know if we're quite the red heat that we played with back then, but you know, but just getting after teams and making them feel uncomfortable and not letting them run their stuff. So definitely taking that from him. Then you combine that with what I learned in college from Greg Mason, who's another, you know, Kentucky guy going back from Shelby County. Of just combining a little bit of structure, you know, in the half court along with it, you know, because we don't quite have the athletes that we did at Scott County, and you know, trying to combine the aggressiveness and the causing havoc, but at the same time a little bit more controlled, and at the same time, and you know, not getting beat so much layups. We didn't have athletes to quite make up for it. So definitely learned a lot from both him and Coach Mason, and now play.
Well, we can't wait to get you all under Up Arena this week. It's going to be a great event. So happy to be back, and thanks for joining us.
Sure, no problem. Thanks, you guys.
All right. As a coach logs out here, we are going to go ahead and admit Coach Kevin Listermann into the Zoom call. Head coach out of the 9th Region champion Fort Thomas Highlands. I believe it has got the little Zoom tone we've all grown to love the last 12 months, and we're going to see if he can hear us. Coach Listermann, I'm going to ask you to unmute, and then whenever you can hear me, just let me know.
I'm good to go. Yes, I can hear you. Thanks.
Awesome. Coming in loud and clear. I'm Dan White with the KHSAA, and we're just, as you've got your invite, we're doing this availability with the media beforehand because it's going to be a little different at Rupp Arena this year. Some of those pregame festivities that we typically do are not going to be available as far as the media doing sidelines and interviews before. So this will get a good chance to get some questions to you, and also hear, first of all, an opening statement, Coach, of what's your thoughts on getting back to the Sweet 16?
We're awfully excited about the opportunity to come down and play. Our region has been extremely difficult this year with the level of talent that the 9th Region has had, and we're certainly honored and humbled to represent the 9th Region down at Rupp Arena. We're awfully excited about taking Highlands High School back there. It's been 21 years, and I have a lot of connections to the former teams, especially with Coach Shields in the late 70s and early 80s. And so for personally, it's a thing for me to lead this school and this team back to Rupp Arena.
Just a reminder, we've had a lot of media hop on the last little bit. All questions, just go ahead and submit those to the chat, and then I will relay them to Coach as they are received. Coach, it's not the 11 a.m. game of the first day, but it is 11 a.m. game the second day. Do you like is 11 a.m. even early for some of these high school guys? It's been a few years for me, but what's your thoughts on the time slot?
If we were 11 a.m. Saturday, I might be a little bit concerned, but we're 11 a.m. on a Thursday. So
yeah,
I don't think it's really going to affect the student athletes because they're used to getting up and going to school.
Sure.
I think our kids are going to be excited to play whenever it is that we get to tip off and get on the floor again. You know, the format is different, but I don't know that it makes a whole lot of difference to our kids because we haven't been there before, so we don't know any better, which is, I guess, a good thing. but I personally like it because we'll get up and we'll be ready to play. You don't have to wait around all day to try to figure out what you're going to do and how to fill the day. You get up and you eat and you get to go play. So
Sure.
I think our kids will be ready to go.
Have you had any time at all to look into Muhlenberg County?
Just a little bit. That game got done at about, I guess, 5:30 our time yesterday afternoon. So then we kind of started scrambling and really starting to get into them. I know that they're 18-1 and you don't come out of Owensboro in the third region with an 18-1 record without being really good. I know that they hang their hat on their defense and, Coach Eads has done a great job down there and they're led by a great group of seniors. So, we think that they're going to be very good and it's going to be a big time challenge for us to get out of that first round for sure.
We're joined here, coach from Fort Thomas Highlands, Kevin Listermann, and he is available here to take your questions. If anyone has anything to submit to the chat, I'll definitely get it relayed to coach. I know the one question everyone has been asking and definitely is interested in is just how, in your mind, how tough is it to win a Sweet 16?
Oh my goodness. It's in one sense, it's kind of like going to the moon.
Mm-hmm.
You set it as your goal, but your daily process isn't worried about winning a state championship. Your daily process is about doing the right thing at the right time and doing it day after day after day. And, I think we've got a group of kids that understand that. But at the same time, we've got a group that's confident, I think, enough to roll into Lexington and believe that we belong there, number one, and two, that we have a realistic shot at winning things and playing in that 8:00 game on Saturday night.
Yeah. Just having a chance to play in what I'm calling March and April Madness. We're very glad to be back in Rupp Arena. I can't wait to see you guys. So we are going to stay on with Coach. If anyone has any questions, feel free to submit them to the chat. We're monitoring that. If anyone just felt more comfortable, wanted to articulate a question, we would allow you for this session to unmute yourself and ask that. Did have Greg Stottlemyre. He said, in 21 of your games, you've scored 80 plus points. What's your offensive strategy, especially versus a team that I believe he put 31, 33, and 39 in their regional games, if I'm reading that correctly?
We shoot. This is a short answer to it. We've got a team that has some very good shooters, led by Luke Muller and William Harold, our sophomore, William Harold. Those two guys knock down 3-point shots at a very high rate. We have a very good point guard who's going to Northern Kentucky University, and Sam Vincent, who's a Mr. Basketball candidate. And, he really sets the table for us. He's able to get downhill, finishes at the rim really well. And so, we like to play fast. And then we try to get after it a little bit defensively and try to make it an 84-foot game. So I know that that's going to be a contrast in styles a little bit with what Muhlenberg does. But I also know that, they're a very good team and we play better when the game is up and down. We've had a couple games where it's taken us a while to get to that point. And we hope that we're able to kind of enforce our will on them in the first round for sure.
Any other questions for Coach Listermann? Yeah, auctioneer here, going once, going twice. Okay, well, we will let you get going here as far as your preparations. I know it's a quick week. Definitely could just a closing comment for you on anything you'd like to talk about with your team or just thoughts heading into this week.
Just a couple of things. One, this team has played very well and responded to a very difficult schedule. I think that we're tested in terms of the caliber of teams that we've played. And I'm excited about this group being able to play in front of a statewide crowd. And I think people will be impressed with the way that we share the basketball and the way that we knock shots down, and the effort that we play with. The second part is, for me personally, like I said, Coach Shields was here in 1979. My dad was an assistant for him. My dad led Covenant Catholic twice. He's been there with Highlands. He's been there with Holmes. He's been there with Covenant Catholic. And for me to have an opportunity to take my own team down there is very, very special. And I'm excited about the opportunity for these kids over the next 5 days.
Great. There's nothing like it, Coach. And we know we're all excited to get back into Rupp Arena. We'll let you hop off, and good luck this week, and we'll see you soon.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Coach Cook, you can go ahead. I'm going to ask you if I can find the button. I just hit to ask you to unmute. And as soon as you can hear me, just let me know.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. All right. We're going to hop on over to school we were just at there with the wrestling state finals. A little different sport than basketball, Coach. But definitely glad to have you on with us. 10th region champion, George Rogers Clark. This is Josh Cook. Josh, we are allowing our media to ask questions in the chat. I will relay those to you as they come in. But for now, we'd like to open up with an opening statement just on your thoughts about making it to Rupp Arena.
Just excited for our kids. For the, it's just pleased that everything's, the situation's improved. Very thankful KHSAA has done everything they can to be able to put this event back on. But for our kids and fans and our school and community, just so excited to have a chance to come out and, be able to get back to, the state tournament and actually have a chance to get to participate this season. So we're just extremely excited and thankful.
Brian Milam had a question about, coming off a dramatic win that you had, your thoughts on immediately going into the Sweet 16 instead of waiting another week and a half.
It's a quick turnaround. It sure is. We just actually finished up with practice. Our girls they're playing tonight in the semifinal of the 10th region, which our school is hosting. So we were able to get in and do a film session and get a lot of shots up and just try to get moving, trying to make sure we're keeping a flow. So it's definitely a quick turnaround, and we've tried to do the best we can to make sure our kids are prepared, but also go in just playing with confidence. Understand, hey, it's this time of year, you just got to go play. You got to have a game plan, but players got to make plays. And, I'm going to do my best to put our kids in that situation.
Tom Leach, he asked, how often did your players talk about winning region this year to make up for not getting to play last year?
Quite often. It was something, I know that was, we returned quite a few, and they still have a close relationship with the 4 seniors that didn't have a chance to go. And, obviously Winchester is a very strong basketball, passionate community. So, and I know it was on a lot of people's minds and thoughts, but our guys were, they wanted the opportunity. Sometimes I feel like they might have played, they wanted it too bad, so they maybe try to force a few things, but deep down, it was something they wanted to get back to, and they had a belief they could do it.
It's a great story, and I'm glad to have you back. Larry Vaught, he posted a question saying, what kind of year has Aiden Sloan had, and what has he meant to your team?
It's been great. I can be a little tough on point guards at times, but he's a natural. He's a pure point. He's brought a lot of leadership to our basketball team, and and he's a pure, which means, in my opinion, he makes his teammates better. And I think he's been battle tested throughout this season, and he's done a great job of helping leading our basketball team.
Where we're not going to be able to have those usual pregame interviews on site. I know that Tom Leach wanted to go ahead and get a couple of questions out of the way about pronunciations. He did list Garant, your player. Is that correct?
Yeah, Kareem Garant. Yes.
Okay. And then he also Manic.
Manak. Armand. Yeah, Armand Manak.
Okay. Hopefully Tom was tuning in to hear those. We appreciate you clearing those up for Mr. Leach.
Let's hope I got those right too.
Yeah, we got you. This is recorded, so we'll know who to go talk to. We are going to wait on some more questions to come in on the chat. Just as I said that, Brian Milam had one pop up. In a season where you've had a lot of lopsided wins, what's it say about your team having to grind out the region title?
Show some toughness and character, and we started off so well in our season, and we were 9-0, and we were playing a really good basketball and found a good rhythm. And then obviously we dealt with the injury when Jerome broke his hand. He was one of our leaders. And then we went through a situation where we were out, several games because of COVID protocol. We just kind of lost our way, kind of lost our, our conditioning, most importantly. And once we were able to put the pieces back together, I think it showed just a lot of toughness and will that our kids were willing basically to do whatever it took. They're an unselfish bunch. We had different guys that step up each night. We have some special players, but our role players really bought into making sure they do their jobs night in, night out. And it's a true team.
And what about Morton? How has he evolved as a player over his career?
He's special. He's a special player. Mentality wise is what I've saw so much growth from him. But he got a chance to learn from a Jordan Graham, a Brennan Canada. As a freshman, he got major minutes on that team, and they were, we were runner up that year. So it was Jerome's freshman year, and then to have a chance to get back last year and win the thing. And then this season, Jerome's just grown up so much where he sees big picture. He sees the big picture in everything. And that's like today, he was the most vocal guy in our practice. He wants to win, and that he's got that special mentality that no matter who he's going against, he believes he can win that game. So, I'll trust and ride with him as far as he wants to go.
Eli Ginn of LEX 18, he is acknowledging that he's not sure how deep you've looked into Oldham County, but overall, what challenges do you think they'll present?
They're good. They're strong. They're big. It's a big basketball team, and their coach, Coy, has done such a great job, with the program. They've been there several times. It's a traditional program, and they run a certain style, and they execute very well. So we watched film today and just looked. We're going to sit on guard. You got to rebound the basketball and sit on a guard, but they got a lot of size on the floor. They do a great job with their 2-2-1 pressure. So we've got to be aggressive. We got to find a good flow early on to make sure we're willing to make the plays, but also the tough plays. You got to be able to guard. And I feel like our post players are, really, for one, they're up for that challenge of understanding, hey, we're going to go get some size. But our big guys can play too.
On that note, Brian Milam noted that your post players may not be super flashy, but they are very efficient. What's your thoughts about their style?
Yeah, they shoot a high percentage. They're different, in each way. We rotate several guys in with that. Stanley Smothers, who has improved tremendously, is such a huge asset. If you put him in the room, he's going to make shots. He's going to guard night in, night out. He's going to set great screens, run the floor, do a great job. And then we've been really Trent Edwards has just really blossomed, and I've always kind of thought he's going to be a special player. The more people get a chance to see him, how good and how talented he is. He's 6'6" long. We've been calling him Turning Time Trent. He's really stepped it up. He's protecting the rim, blocking shots, run the floor, make shots. Those guys have played real well. And then Jeremiah Money off the bench is, he's a little undersized, but he's one of the strongest guys out there. Last year he started for us last year, and he's played, in a regional championship. He gets it. He can guard multiple positions on the floor. So, our depth inside those guys, they'll go to battle.
It's interesting how many times it's the tournament time just brings out that one guy you need. It may be waiting for that moment, and you definitely have that. We're stalled on questions here for a minute. It's at 2:37. We got 3 minutes left on Coach Cook's call. That said, we do not have anybody in the waiting room, so we will hang out here with Coach Cook as long as he will allow. And if anybody has any more questions, we're going to go take a last call on chats.
And if anything, I'd like to just bring up and really brag on Jared Wellman. Jared's a senior on our team. He's a tremendous leader. He understands what it takes to win, and to watch him play. He's a 3-point shooter. He's one of the best in the state of Kentucky, in my opinion. And in the championship game, he didn't shoot it well, but Jared just knows how to make the right play at the right time. And for him, his career, he's played in 3 regional championship games, won 2 regions, won 4 districts. He's a winner, and so I look forward to seeing him out on that floor at Rupp Arena and seeing what he can do.
Does Oldham County remind you of any team you played this year?
They're much bigger than most of the teams we've played. So they execute. One thing I would say is Campbell County with Eric Russell's system. They do a great job of running their system, executing. Another team we played with a lot of size was Madison Central, who we played a couple of weeks ago, who's in the state tournament. They have a lot of size, and Coach Foss does a great job with his system. So we understand that, they're going to be very well coached, and they're going to run their system with size. So we're going to have to make sure we make adjustments at the time needed.
Yeah. Brian Milam trying to rib at you a little bit. He said he wants to know how long you've been waiting to use that game-winning play in the region finals.
I'm not sure. I mean, my philosophy really is you got to put it in the right player's hands and let him make the play. And if he misses the shot, I'm still going to go home with him. I mean, I'm fine. I mean, it's at the end of the day, I believe in those kids, and it kind of worked out. Sometimes they make them, sometimes they don't, but you just got to believe that in your kids. And I believe in Jerome Morton. If you give him the basketball at the right time, he believes he can make it. So I mean, it's he made a heck of a play.
Said earlier, we're still going to hang out with Coach Cook here a couple more minutes if anyone has any questions in the chat. Of course, when we get to the end here, if anybody feels more comfortable articulating a question, we will allow you to unmute yourself and ask that real quick. Coach Josh Cook, who's a team we've taken on Oldham County on Wednesday at 8 o'clock, the late game. Coach, do you like the late game, or is that too much time for your guys to just be waiting around?
They're pretty anxious. I mean, I would say when we're on spring break, so it's kind of really paid off for us as far as we can keep our kids in a routine. But I mean, that's me. Most of your games are usually 7 o'clock, 7:30. So
yeah.
For us, I mean, 8 o'clock game, it's a short drive. So we're excited. We'll have a routine for our guys, make sure we get them fed, things like that, and we're just excited to go play.
Yeah. Next up on the call is Alan Feldhouse at Madison Central. We're waiting on Coach to arrive. So,
I'm here.
Oh, we're not waiting on Coach to arrive. I think I had a different name in the chat, so I just wasn't sure you were here, Coach, but it's great to see you.
Oh, that's
right,
my assistant. They know the technology better than me.
Well, Coach Cook, anybody else have anything? All right, well, sorry, Coach Feldhouse. We'll do one more question for Coach Cook. Have you ever had a team that has peaked better at the right time with well, I'm sorry, I believe we've actually moved on to questions for that's about Brown, Hardin, and Davis. They all had great numbers in every regional game. So that's your personnel, Coach Feldhouse.
Yeah, is that for me?
Yeah. Well, we're going to go ahead, Josh. I'm sorry. I thought that was one more for you, but
I say Josh got some new players. You got my players.
You can answer
my
the question.
players.
Yeah, he's got some good players. I can comment on.
You're not getting them, boy. You're not getting them. I'm just telling you.
I dealt with that 2 weeks ago. He's got some good players. So.
All right. Well, Josh, thank you so much. It's great getting to talk with you and have everybody ask their questions, and we'll see you this week.
All right. Thank you guys so much.
All right. Well, Coach Feldhouse, I was trying to give your questions away. I think, as we've reached past the halfway mark, it's kind of hard to keep up with all of this. But,
I'd say it is.
Let's go ahead and we will get to that question, but opening statement from you, Coach. I know it's got to be exciting to make it to Rupp Arena, and just what's going through your head as it all kind of unraveled.
It is. It's really exciting to be back for the first time, I guess, in 8 years, and I'm sure we probably caught a few people off guard. It's been kind of a crazy season for us, dealing with 8 positive COVID issues, and then one of my players losing a father in the process. I think we had 2 players to play in every game the entire year. That was it. So, but finally, those last couple of weeks of regular season, we got everybody back and started the gel, and I just think we're playing our best basketball right now.
Thanks, Coach. And now we'll get back to Greg Stoudemire's question. He wanted to know if you've had a team that has peaked better at the right time ever. When you look at Brown, Hardin, and Davis, they all had great numbers in literally every regional game.
No, I mean, truthfully, I don't think I have, and I think that's why we probably caught so many people off guard. Going into the season, we thought we were going to, have a chance, but just all the issues that we had to deal with throughout the course of the season kind of slowed us down and had a lot of ups and downs. And of course, our schedule is brutal, and but I think it's going to pay off hopefully now, and I know it already has in the 11th region. So, but those guys, they can all step out and shoot the basketball. And it's by far, in my 35 years of coaching, it's the best perimeter shooting team that I've ever had. That Lexington Catholic game, we hit 15 or 16 threes and they hit 13. That was probably one of the most unbelievable high school basketball games that I've ever been a part of, where both teams played really well and shot the basketball really well.
Larry Vaught wants to know, do you consider it a reward that you're going to have to get the top fireworks salesman in the state in that opening game? We heard from Coach Renner about his firework.
Hey, and we've got him the last 2 years now. Don't let him pull your leg. We have got him the last 2 years. So, but
yeah,
Chris is, I mean, he's one of my probably best friends in the coaching community, and we ride each other constantly, especially those 2 or 3 weeks in July when we're selling those fireworks. And he texts me, I guess, after we beat Catholic and congratulated me, and I text him back after they beat Trinity, I think in the semifinals, and he said, you know, I hope we both make it. He said, I want one more chance at you on that Rupp Arena floor. So,
yeah,
I told him, hey, you're all just blowing people away, winning by 20-something points every region game. I said, if we get there, we're going to COVID out on you all. That's what I told him. He said,
nice.
No, you're not.
Well, you know, he did say maybe you top him in sales, but then as far as the amount of money, but he thought he might be the better salesman. So hopefully you can settle it on the court.
There's no question about that. When it comes to talking, he's got me beat. I promise.
Got a question from a last name Watkins. I'm sorry, I don't know the outlet, but they said,
Michael.
Okay, Michael, I know you have said this team was your best shooting team you ever had, but could you have ever imagined they would shoot the way they did last week?
Well, no, I just went back and looked here in the last 30 minutes or so, our last 5 games. I think we're shooting almost 60% in those last 5 games. Of course, when you shoot 70% in a regional tournament game against Lexington Catholic, that definitely helps out. It's just a unique team. I've never had a team where I've had a 5-man Will Harden that could step out on the floor and I could kind of run my offense through him. And he's just a really smart, old school type player who can really shoot the basketball. So we've got a 6'10" guy to go against on Wednesday, but it helps when we've got a 5-man that we can maybe bring him out on the floor a little bit and see what happens. So it's just when you go from Isaiah Kozart playing at the 5 spot who never comes out of the paint, and then you have a 5-man that you out at that 3-point line, that's just high school basketball for you. You got to make some adjustments depending on, you know, what your personnel is.
Has any of your family had time to reach out and give you any advice about the state tournament?
They don't give me too much advice. I mean, they're excited. They're all excited. They'll all be there, but they pretty much let the take care of the coaching part.
Sure. Brian Milan wants to know 2 of your region championship teams. He mentioned 2006 and 2021 had losing records the year before. Did you see this title coming?
Well, I mean, like I said, when the year started, I mean, we didn't lose anybody last year. We had everybody coming back. I had 2 seniors on the team last year, but they didn't play any. So we knew we had our entire starting lineup back, our first 7 people really coming back. So we thought we had a chance to contend. It's just all those circumstances we had to deal with throughout the course of the year kind of slowed us down. But we never gave up, and the kids never gave up. They were very resilient. And I can tell, especially my 2 seniors that have been with me for 5 years, Cole Brown and Braden Ray, they really showed some good senior leadership those last couple of weeks of the season and leading into tournament play. And you can kind of sense it as a coach that they're in the right place and they're on a mission.
There's some thought in the chat that Ray may not have been known for his defense, but the way he played against Ben Johnson and Jackson was a huge difference in those wins.
Well, we really, of course, we're 95% of the time we play half court man-to-man defense, and usually Cole Brown gets my toughest assignment defensively, but Cole's my leading scorer too. So we knew we were going to try box and chaser in both of those games. And I wanted to try to save a little bit of energy for Cole on that offensive end. So we decided, and Braden is a tough kid, and we thought we would give him that assignment and bring Tayshawn Chenault off the bench whenever Braden got tired. And I thought they both did a really good job. I know you say, how do you do a good job when you run boxing 1 and Ben gets 41? But I still think it was the difference in the game, because the first quarter, I don't think he even attempted a shot the first quarter. And he shot a lot of free throws there in the fourth quarter, which kind of helped him get the 41. But I thought against the Jackson kid at Douglas, they were really frustrated with our boxing one, and Braden and Tayshawn both did a great job. You know, all we tell them, you don't have to worry about any help defense. You just keep your head in their chest. And that's what they did.
Eli again from LEX 18, he mentions how you've been on this stage before, but your players have not. So what's your message going to be prior to tip off about how to handle the bigger stage that Rupp Arena provides?
Well, we're gonna show a little video today of the last time that we went. But most of these kids, I know Cole Brown and Braden Ray, they remember, because I remember going visiting the elementary schools after we won the regional tournament in 2013. Those guys have come to our summer camps since they were in kindergarten. So all about Madison Central basketball, and they were at the state tournament in 2013, and they know what our goals are here at Madison Central. So that's what I was talking about. Those two in particular, I think they were on a mission to hang a banner up here in the gym for, to be an 11th region champion.
Definitely makes it special. Coach, we're right now don't have anything new in the chat, and I will invite anybody who has anything to close us out if they have a last question. We got about a minute left, but we do not.
I have one other thing I'd like to.
Yeah, please.
I've got two players that lost their fathers, and since I've had them playing for me, of course, Jalen Davis lost his the middle of the season, and then Braden Ray lost his father during the season 2 years ago. So it's really been special for them. And that was our pregame talk before we went out and played in the regional finals. And I think we got a little extra incentive because their dads were unbelievable basketball dads, and that's all they thought about was basketball. So it's really been special. I've really been happy for those two young men to get this regional championship, because I know it's made their dads happy.
Great. And Coach Brian Milan can close us out. He just wants to know, does Ballard look like any team you've seen this year or recently?
Well, Frederick Douglass, as far as athletic ability and talent, I don't think we faced a team with as much depth as they have. But I said before, I've been watching film the last couple of days. I thought going into the tournament, they would definitely be the favorite. I mean, they're just so athletic and they're hard to score on, but hey, we're playing our best basketball, so we're going to give it our best.
Great. Coach, it's just great to have you on. Wish you could have been on with Coach Renner as maybe do a little show about fire.
Oh yeah, I would like that.
Maybe we'll work that out one day. But anyway,
right.
Thank you so much, and we can't wait to have you all back at Rupp Arena.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. See ya.
All righty.
We're going to move on down the road to Boyle County, to the 12th region. Their head coach, Denny Webb, is going to join us next. For those that have not been on this call, and Coach Webb, I've asked you to unmute, so go ahead and just chime in whenever you're able to talk.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Thank you so much, Coach Webb. This is going to be a call where we have most of the media muted, and they will ask questions in the chat, and we'll relay those to you as they come in. To get us started, Coach, we always like to ask everybody just a typical opening statement. And, I know it's not a typical year, so it may be an untypical opening statement, but just talk about the feelings of getting to Rupp Arena.
Well, obviously, we're super thankful to just get the opportunity this year with everything that's gone on. I don't know that we'll ever take things like this for granted again, maybe to a certain degree. But yeah, I'm super happy, just like all the other coaches are, for our kids. We've got kids that dreamed of this, and when they were younger in 2015, we were here. We have several that were out on the floor when we won it in 2015, and I know I've heard a couple of them talk about how they wanted to do that same thing. So some that I'm very familiar with, so I know that that's a big deal for them.
We have Larry Vaught in the chat with us, and he talked about your late season loss to Danville and then your loss to Lincoln and District. So what magic did you work to get to things back on track?
Well, the Danville game, they just outplayed us, outworked us a little bit. I think maybe we just kind of relaxed a little and had I don't want to say we had an easy time of it for the first game, but we beat them pretty good. And you know how kids are, sometimes they lose a little bit of that edge. But Danville also played really well that game. So hats off to them for that. In Lincoln County, the loss in the district is kind of the same, a little bit of the same. I think maybe we had that in the back of our heads too, that we've beat them twice already by double digits. And again, just kind of lost a little bit of an edge there. And I think maybe to a certain degree, I kind of got in their heads a little bit about attacking, and we gave up shots, and I had them maybe thinking too much instead of just playing on the Lincoln game. So I think we overthought things a little bit, or I did anyway. So after that, we just, let's get back to basics, and it was good teaching points for them and for me all the way around. Good thing that we learned. So they rallied back, and I think they saw that maybe they lost a little bit of that edge that we'd had or that we needed.
We're here with Denny Webb of Boyle County. They are scheduled to take on Paintsville in the first round on Thursday at 5 o'clock at Rupp Arena. We are doing this Zoom conference, coach, because things will not be the same as they are years past of doing all the pregame interviews up and down the radio row there and some of the walk-off interviews. So this session will allow us to get some of those things knocked out. So anyone else has anything that they'd like to get to coach, please put it in the chat. Question that a lot of teams have gotten, coach, is just, in your mind, just what makes this tournament so hard to win?
Oh, well, for one, it's hard to get here. Or it's hard to get to, first of all.
Yeah.
So, we just pulled off our fifth in the school's history. So, it's not easy. It's not easy to get there. And I think people maybe lose sight of that, outside of coaches, maybe, and ones that have been a part of it. I think maybe communities forget that, man, it's hard to do. So just to get there, it's hard enough. But then, yeah, it's going to be tough to win or to get wins in this tournament because everybody's, cream of the crop. This is supposed to be 16 of the best teams in the state. So the environment's going to be great, and everybody's going to be ready to play. And so everybody's got to. We got to be prepared. You just got to be prepared for whatever happens in this environment, in that setting.
Brian Milam asked, have you had a chance to look at Paintsville at all?
I have looked a little bit. My assistants have been on that pretty hard last night and today. I've, like most of the other coaches, probably spent most of the time on the administrative stuff, but I've watched about a little bit of film on them and looked at their stats, and they're a team that's got some good size. I was impressed with their size that they got. Look like a strong team. It's going to be a physical team, I think, just from what I saw. And they got some kids who put the ball in the hole. So we're going to have our work cut out with us on the defensive end, trying to slow down the two few gates, I think. And then their other kids, they got a couple of good shooters too. So I'm still breaking them down a little bit and hoping to get a game plan together a little bit later today and tomorrow.
With Denny Webb from Boyle County, 12th region champs. Okay, here's Rhett Allred with a question. Coach, I know we take things one game at a time in the sports world, but how do you feel about your draw and path to the state title? Both Knox Central and Ashland are playing very good basketball right now.
Yeah, somebody had told me that, we got a good draw, but I thought, I don't know if you knew who the teams in the brackets with it, that they'd say that. That's what I told them, because Knox Central and Ashland they're lights out. I've not seen much of Knox this year, but I have watched a little bit of Ashland. We had them on the schedule earlier in the year, so we had done a little bit of prep on them. So it's a tough road on either end, the top or bottom, in my opinion. And then that's not even counting Highlands, who's down there with us as well. So. Like I said, it's game to game. We try not to get ahead of ourselves here. We got to worry about how we're going to slow down these Tigers that we got coming Thursday.
Eli Ginn from LEX 18. Each night, it seems like 3 or 4 guys score in double figures for your team. How important is it to have numerous players that can score for you, especially in the Sweet 16?
Well, that's been, I think, one of our strong suits all year. Luke Imfeld's been our leading scorer, and the kids understand he's our best scorer. But we also got, you know, four to five kids, 6 kids. We can go 6. They can put the ball in the hole. So that gives us some options and flexibility. And I think maybe it makes us a little harder to guard at times because, you know, just taking away one, you know, we've had a lot of people try to take Infeld away, and, you know, he's had a couple of games where he had 6 and 8 points, and we still, you know, we win by 20, you know, so I think he's done a nice job of not forcing things and trusting his teammates, but we do have some options there, and that's a luxury to have when you have some kids who can put the ball in the hole. And none of them are, and this is what I love about this group. There's no selfishness at all. They don't really care. And I don't know, you hear coaches say it all the time, but these kids really don't. They're happy for it because we've kind of talked about it. One night it might be one guy's night, and the other night it may not. You know, one guy can score 18 and turn around and score 6 the next night. So, and it doesn't hurt us. So that's a nice option to have, and it's a luxury to have, really. And I think that's going to be key Thursday. I think just in case somebody's off and maybe a little too geeked up, maybe we'll find somebody that's can put the ball in the hole.
All right, we got about a minute left here. Does anyone else have a final question in the chat? Let's give it about 10 seconds and see if anyone else has a question they need answered. Right. You got some stuff going on in the background there, Coach. But we absolutely appreciate you hopping on for this. I know it's not been a typical year, and we'll continue getting the great chance to go to Rupp Arena and enjoy having Boyle County and the community join us there. So thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Yep. As Coach comes off the Zoom conference, we have invited Tony Patterson from Knox Central, the 13th Region Champions. He's on his way into the room. Let's see. Tony, let me know. Coach Patterson, whenever you can hear me, just let me know. I believe you'll have to. There we go.
Okay, good.
The old Zoom conference that we've all grown to love, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody in our office that's in charge of telling people to unmute. So I've enjoyed getting to take over that job for at least a couple hours.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Coach, we absolutely appreciate you hopping on this call with us. It's going to allow our media members to get some questions to you that they typically do in the pregame when teams make the state tournament, but during COVID protocols, some of those opportunities were lost. So everything coming into you through the chat here, I will relay. But if you could just first of all give us your opening thoughts on getting your squad to Rupp Arena.
We're super excited for this opportunity. I'm so proud of these kids, and you know, this community is excited. They're behind us. We have a tremendous amount of support. We're playing really good basketball right now. We're looking forward to the challenge. Ashland Blazers, a great team. You know, they were great last year, and they're continuing their play this year. And we're looking forward to the challenge.
Okay, I do believe we have some questions that have already come into the chat. And it starts with Larry Vaught. He has, Tony, could you tell me a little bit about Gavin Chadwell and what makes him so good as a freshman?
Gavin was really raw when we got him this summer. You know, he's 6'5", 220, and he's a 15-year-old when we got him. So he just turned 16, and he's just now starting to come into his own. He just realizing how big and strong he is. His feet's getting really good. He's got really good hands, really nice touch around the basket. The sky's the limit for this young man, and it's a pleasure to coach him. He listens so well. He's going to be a great talent in our region.
This is from Les Dixon. He wants to know, Coach Patterson, can you talk about the experience that your team brings to the table coming into your team's third straight Sweet 16?
Well, anytime you can get in a tournament atmosphere early in the season will benefit you. And this will make our third. We played in the one, and last year it got canceled due to COVID. But we do have some experience on a big stage. That arena we play our region in is a big spotlight on our kids. That will play a role in the game for sure, and in this tournament. And we're coming up to win a state title. We've never done that here at this school, and we've won 3 regions in a row, and we set our sights on a state title, and we're not going to rest until we get one.
How special is Javante Turner and getting a chance to show him off at the state level? That's from Brian Milam.
Above all, Javante is a great person. He's very talented. His skill level's high. He plays at a high level, very athletic, and he loves to play. I've done an article with YMT about a month and a half ago on Javante. He was born to play basketball. I really believe he thinks about basketball every day. And that's why he does so well. He loves to play, and he don't have to go out and get 40 every night, even though he could. He knows what it takes for a team to win. And that young man has his sights set on winning, and that's it. And I'm proud of him, and he's going to do well at the next level. And I'm excited to see where basketball takes Javante.
Les Dixon followed up with just, I think a couple people had this question, wanting to know your thoughts on Ashland.
Ashland shoots it real well. I've watched some film on them, and I got a chance to watch them at Catholic against North. They shoot the ball extremely well. They got good size inside. I know Sellers can really fill it up. I think he had 30 at halftime that game. They've got a lot of talent. They're coached well. They like to guard. So it's a good matchup for us. We like to guard as well. We're shooting the ball extremely well, and we have good size. We're a big, strong, physical team. So it's a good matchup for sure.
Tom Leach wants to know your biggest concerns when you look at that matchup.
Well, we got to control the basketball, and we got to set the tempo and play at our pace, and we have to control the boards. And I think if we do those things, we'll be in good shape. But they're wanting to do the same thing. It's just going to be a war down there with these two teams, and I think it's an excellent matchup. And if you don't have your tickets yet, you better try to get one. It's going to be a dandy.
We appreciate that, Coach. And then Larry Vaught had a question about North Laurel, and deservedly so. They got a lot of attention this year. And how much did that motivate you, your staff, your players?
Well, I know what I have every year, and I knew I had the potential to win the region and go make a run at state championship. And I don't pay any attention to rankings or what this guy says or that guy says. I know what I had, and they proved it at the end. And we're not finished yet. North Laurel was a great team. They were coached really well. They played strong throughout the season. We were just able to play a little better than them the other night and get that win.
Brian Milam, talking about the historical aspect of what you pulled off. He lists that you are now part of the list that is Clay County, Corbin, Harlan, and South Laurel, who are three-peat region champions. What does that mean to add Knox to that list?
Well, 6 years ago, when we came in and started coaching, we had very high expectations. We've always had talent here at Knox Central. And we just had to get those kids in the mindset that we're going to get over this hump and we're going to build a strong program. And that's what we've done. These kids at Knox Central have changed the culture. And that first group that we had that won that region title 3 years ago, I call them the pioneers of Knox Central basketball. And we're living in the heyday of Knox Central basketball right now. And I'm blessed to be a part of it. And I thank God for it. But, we're playing real good. We want to build a dynasty down here. We want people to know when we come in on the bus who they're playing. And our kids are expected to win. I expect nothing less, and they know that. And they've got that mentality now, and it's carried over every year. And I'm just excited to be a part of it.
That's great, Coach. And a longer question here from Rhett Allred. He definitely wants to say congratulations on your win. And he's had the pleasure of watching your squad a few times. points out that last year you didn't get to go to Rupp because of the COVID pandemic. Do you feel somewhat vindicated by getting to go back this year?
Well, I think the kids had a chip on their shoulder, and I think they had that in the back of their mind all year. I've said this before. Our practices were great. It was a joy to coach this bunch. It's probably the closest bunch I've ever had. They really love playing with each other, and they love each other. And they had that in the back. Now, me, I want to be successful every game we play. I tell our kids, this is the biggest game of the year. It's our next game. And we're going to approach this game the same way, but definitely getting back to the Sweet 16 and proving you're one of the best teams in the state of Kentucky it's an extra little bit of gratification there for sure.
Mr. Leach, Tom Leach wanted to get a couple pronunciations. He lists 3 players. Yother, you can just tell me if I'm right or wrong.
Tatum Yother.
Yother, okay. Emmel.
Yeah, Bryce Emmel.
Emmel, and then Pilarski.
Dalton Pilarski, yes, sir.
All right, I'll give myself 1.5 out of 3 or 2, so that'll work.
Good.
I think we got time for one more. And Les Dixon says, Tony, talk about your unsung heroes that played key roles, as well as during Knox's wins over Harlan, Clay, and North Laurel in the region tournament. So basically just talk about those unsung guys that played key roles that may not get the headlines.
You know, Isaac Mills is the glue that keeps us together. Of course, Javante is our leader, and we go as he goes. And Andrew Sizemore's grew up so much this year and lead this team. And Abe Brock is just a gritty, tough kid that doesn't care if he gets any attention or not. And of course, we talked about Gavin. He's going to be a force in this region. But you know, KT Turner come in and give us really big minutes last night in that win, and we needed that from him. He hadn't played well in a couple games, and it just seemed like he was so focused. Bryce Emmel comes in and against Clay County the second round, hits a big jumper and gets down guards and picks up a loose ball. And then you have to mention Blake Ledford. He's probably our best shooter. He comes off the bench and he hit 7 of 8 threes in the tournament. And I don't know if he touched the rim on any of those. He's just a kid that, you know, he has no pressure on him. He just wants to win and do good and knock down shots. And any way he can help his team, he can. But those kids are, you always have a kid or two step up in a tournament that you need. You're always going to get production from your norms, but those kids really stepped up and when we needed them. And that's what a team's all about.
All right. Well, Coach Patterson, I appreciate it. I think if the coaching career ever changes, I think you definitely can be a salesman. You got me excited to go watch a tournament we're putting on. So we appreciate you trying to sell some tickets for us.
Thank you, sir.
All right. So have a great rest of your week, and we can't wait to see you down in Rupp.
Same thing. I appreciate you guys very much.
Yes, sir. Okay, we're gonna move on to the 14th region. BB King from Knott County Central is on his way in. Let's see if we can't get a hold of Coach King. Coach, if you can hear me, let me know.
I got hold of that. You're unmuted right now. You do it. No, you're good.
Coach King?
Yes.
There we go. Hey, Coach. Good to see you.
Good seeing you.
Dan White with the KHSAA here. And as you've gotten your emails and heard, and the media have as well, we're doing this availability in light of not being able to do everything quite as normal when we get to Rupp Arena this week. So they're going to ask questions in the chat room. I will in the chat, and I will relay those to you. We are joined by BB King here from Knott County Central, 14th region. And he, as we talked earlier, has that opening game, the 11 a.m. game on Wednesday against Elizabethtown. So, Coach, while they get some questions queued up, just give us an opening statement on your thoughts taking your boys into Rupp Arena.
Well, you know, I'm just tickled that how to be going, hard to play again, and the 11 o'clock game, I don't necessarily care for that. Pretty early in the morning, you know.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm just glad to be there, and the boys are too.
I was not in the room for the ping pong ball, so you can't blame me on that one. That's our, I think, Associate Commissioner Cope, Commissioner Tackett in there on that one. So they give you that. But you are going to be taking on Elizabethtown. You're both going to be waking up early for that game. Have you had a chance to look at them much yet?
Yeah, I had a chance to watch them the other night. I mean, they're a good ball club, and the defense impressed me a whole lot. They play man to man, and they get after you, and it'll be I guess, a tall task for us. How to take care.
Brian Milam popped into the chat. He said, "It's good to see you, Coach. And also, what has taken place in Knott County for you to go through the stretch you've had since 2011?
Well, I've been, I guess, lucky enough to have good players and good assistants, and good backing from the fans. And you got to have all that together to make it work.
Makes sense. When you, we're going to ask everybody if they have questions, pop them in the chat, and we'll get them to Coach King. Little different format this year, Coach. We've had to adjust on the fly, as you know, for different things.
A little different.
Wait on anybody that has anything else for Coach King in the chat. All right, Tom Leach has, what does your team do well when you're playing your best?
Playing the best, we shooting the ball well from outside and attacking the rim. Defense probably not our forte. We're better at them shooting the ball, moving the ball, and them attacking inside and out.
I got you. Well, 3-point shooting always helps. No doubt about that, especially this time.
That helps. That helps. We got a few of those.
When you think back to your last trip to Rupp Arena, what comes to your mind?
You really don't want to know.
Well, maybe the media does.
Well, I really think we got a raw deal the last time we went. I thought we had a good opportunity to win it. And I think the opposing team shot, 40-something free throws to us, 17. And that's probably the worst disappointment I've had.
Understand. Mr. Leach had another question. Tell us about Colby Napier's game and how he's improved over his career.
He's a shooter from 3-point. He's committed to Transylvania, and he's 6'4", and he likes to shoot the three, and he can shoot on the move too. And he's grown, I guess, a lot from being either standstill shooters to how to shoot it on the move too.
Great. We're here with BB King, head coach out of the 14th region, Knott County Central. There, got that great 11 a.m. start. We're gonna like that game, Coach, no matter what, because that means we're back playing basketball in Rupp Arena. I and the staff here at KHSAA was in the building there when the girls, we had to leave, so this is going to be special. And talk about that. I mean, your team, like all these teams, has had to been through this non-typical year, and I know it's affected different regions in different ways. How have your kids handled what I'm calling a non-typical season?
Well, I guess the biggest thing, the kids wanted to play games a lot more. They wanted, it was all the time asking for more games, just get some more games in. But I think it's a big, after last year, those kids, I feel sorry for them. They didn't get to experience the experience of they're going to state tournament and getting to play in Rupp Arena.
Sure. Mr. Milam has come back with another question. He says, how much drastically different is this team compared to some of your teams with Cam Justice and Evan Hall and company?
It's a big difference. I mean, those teams was a special group, very special group. And this team's a lot different. It's not the same, I guess, firepower that was back in 14 and 15, but hopefully this month plays hard and we make a game out of it.
Absolutely. We are going to do a last call for questions for Coach King as we've reached our last couple minutes here in our time slot. And I think as we wait, maybe something comes in, Coach, but I always like to have just a closing statement. It's a sounding board for, well, what goes through your mind as you get closer and closer to game time.
We get closer and closer, you know, we got a lot of responsibility as far as tickets and being on time and
yeah,
make sure everything goes right. And I just come out with an open mind and do the things we do best.
Great. Tom Leach did want to quickly ask, when did this team start to gel? When did you start to feel like this was possible?
At the start, probably at the All-A. We won the All-A and had to beat all the top teams to go to the All-A.
Mm-hmm.
And then we kind of hit a lull there. And then probably the last month of the season, I changed my practice up the way that I was doing it. And we done something totally different. And I think it helped us a lot.
Okay. Final question and comment came from Rhett Allred, and he was just mentioned how incredible Sweet 16 is because the different communities get to come together and play. Hindman and Elizabethtown are different communities geographically for sure. So what do you know about E-Town and how do you feel about playing them?
Well, I seen last time I was down there, a lot of bourbon.
Oh yeah.
Close to E-Town.
Yeah.
And I guess from knocking a lot of moonshine back here. So that's kind of how relating us to each other.
Yeah, but it is
that's a bigger city compared to us. You know, our town's 800, and it's a rural community. And but I guess in the end, at 5 against 5 on the floor. So
that's correct. Do you talk about what you've been doing differently in practice, or is that closed doors?
Well, I mean, I don't care to tell you.
Well, you're telling a lot of people, just so you know.
I kind of scripted out all the fundamentals and all that. And I'll be honest, we played 4-on-4.
Okay.
Against each other. And I guess we done that for the past month.
Okay. Well, there's the secret. So the media, it's out. So we'll see if the media runs with that a little bit. But I tell you what, Coach, it's awesome having you on and get to talk to you. And I know the media appreciates it. We do have 15th region ready to go. So we're going to let you hop off this call and we will see you sooner than later.
Okay. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep. Out of the 15th region, Paintsville High School will be next on the line. Landon Sloan, the head coach there, whenever he gets in, will be joining us.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Coach Sloan. It's great to join us. This is Dan White at the KHSAA, and I'm sure as you've read your emails, we're doing this in lieu of things changing as far as the pregame procedures. So, you know, you might like it not having to go down the radio row and all that. This allows you to knock all that out right here. So
exactly.
Hopefully the media take it easy on you a little bit here. We'll see what they got. They do provide the questions in the chat room, and then I relay them to you. I do think you can kind of see them too. So
okay.
We'll see what we get. Did want to go over the matchup. This is obviously 15th region champion Paintsville playing Boyle County on Thursday at 5:00. So it's not quite the last game of that first round, Coach, but it's close. Do you like waiting around that much, or would you have rather gotten the ping pong balls to drop a little different?
Hey man, we're really happy to be there, and you know, whenever we play, we just wanted to make a run at it and have a chance to go to the Sweet 16. It's a big honor for our team, our school, our community. But you know, I'm excited. I think that's a fun game time. It gives the crowd a chance to come in and watch. You know, I always enjoyed the evening sessions. I know it's a little different this year, but you know, like I said, just ecstatic for our kids, especially our seniors. We had a really good senior class, and just really excited for the opportunity.
Great. Brian Milam chimed in first, and he says, compare the emotions of winning the region as a player. That was back in 2008. That's kind of crazy. And now as a coach.
Yeah, it's comparable, but you know, this one, I tell you, you know, that seems like a lifetime ago for me. And one of my assistant coaches was on that team as well, senior with me, and JD Van Hoos. And, you know, like I said, it's similar, but you know, I'm just so happy for these kids, man, because I've actually seen the work that they put in, and to be able to take a group down there of great kids that like we have, you know, it means a lot. But both times are super special. I think every Kentucky kid, you know, dreams of playing in the Sweet 16 and playing in Rupp Arena. So just super excited. But you know, it's a similar comparison between the two.
Great. Boyle County, have you had a chance to look into them at all, or is it you kind of still in that process?
In the process, you know, I had one chance to watch the regional championship game. My assistant coach watched the game earlier in the season, and you know, very talented team. I think every team that you're going to see at the Sweet 16 is going to be extremely talented. But you know, they play an up tempo style. They shoot the ball well. They guard well. So it's going to be a big challenge for us. I think our district and our region was tough this year. It's really prepared us for these type of games. So like I said, big challenge, but hopefully we're prepared for it.
And you're someone who has some experience in Rupp Arena, maybe more than others, but you know, these kids on your team may not. Does any of that experience that you hold help when you talk to the guys? I don't know, everybody's going to have jitters. I know you don't lose those, but what kind of things do you tell them?
Just little things, you know, I just like seeing the excitement. So I'll tell them little stories about whether it was playing in high school on Rupp Arena, walking out there the first time, or playing in college and getting to run out for Kentucky. You know, it's I've said for years and years, man, you know, it was an awesome thing to play at Kentucky, but running out there with your friends on your high school team and people that you grow up with, it means that much more. So I just tell them little things that kind of excite them. You can see the excitement in their eyes, you know, when you're telling them certain stories about the sounds, the noises, the visuals that are different in Rupp Arena. So they're really, really excited about it, and we're looking forward to it.
Reminding the media, I have quite a few on the call with us here. If you have a question for Coach Sloan, make sure you pop it in the chat. And I know we've been going quite a while here, but you know, I'm sure those fingers aren't too tired. You can get some questions in for Coach Sloan. We will get them to him. He's the 15th region champion from Paintsville. A lot of history there of success at Paintsville, and getting to do it this year in a year that was not normal by any means. Did that motivate you, or how did the kids kind of handle this year that at all levels of sport we're having to kind of navigate?
Yeah, man, it was extremely tough. You know, as far as the season, it wasn't longer, but it seemed like it was. And I think the hard part about that, not just for us, but for every team and coach and staff, you know, was just getting in a rhythm. It seemed like every time we would get in some kind of rhythm as a team, you know, and find an identity, you know, we would get a game canceled, or we would be shut down for a week, you know, and just lose games throughout the season. So that was the hardest part, just getting the team in a rhythm. Once we were able to do that and we got that behind us the last few weeks, one benefit we had from the game cancellations was we had a little more practice time to try to figure some things out. So that helped a lot. Like I said, playing the toughest possible schedule. We played a lot of local teams because of COVID. Usually we'll try to travel throughout the state and sometimes outside the state to get some good competition. But just a challenging year. It was a challenging year for everybody. And, you know, our guys handled it extremely well. And I think having 4 seniors and a veteran team helped that.
Brian Milam brought up that in his mind, it seemed like there was a load lifted when you won in 2008. Is there pressure to win this year?
You know, it was pressure there was more pressure as a player because, you know, we were kind of picked my sophomore, junior, and senior year to play in the Sweet 16. We only made it my senior year. It is a relief as a coach, you know, because we have had talented teams. There's been talented teams throughout our region the last few years, so we've kind of fell short. We've gotten close, fell short the last few years, but
They took a big step this year. The biggest thing was their maturity level. They and like I always come back to it, but the 4 seniors just their accountability and holding people accountable in the locker room and in practice really went a long way for our team.
Seems like Red Allred was mentioning how it doesn't matter what size the community is. You could be in Louisville, Lexington, or you could be in Paintsville, Kentucky. Winning a Sweet 16 is special. But since you've lived it, what is it about the small town community that makes it a little different?
Man, well, you know, it's just like my kids when they came in today for film this morning. You know, they were talking about, they're like, Coach, we saw so and so out, never seen this person before, and they were telling us great game, good luck at Rep Arena. It's little things like that. You know, small community. When we came in, we beat our crosstown rival in the regional championship, and we came into town. You know, we had a mile-long caravan behind our bus, police escort, there were fireworks being shot when we came into town, and everybody's out on their porches flashing their porch lights. So it's just a special thing for these kids to get experience. It's something they'll remember the rest of their lives.
Absolutely. Probably got time for one more. Brian Milan back on the chat. What's the difference in facing Johnson Central the first 2 times this year compared to the postseason games?
Well, you know, football went a little longer for us. Our enrollment's around 235 students. So football went a little longer. When we first came in, we had some COVID situations from football season, the players that were coming in. So that pushed us even further back. It took those guys a little while to get their basketball legs under them. Once they did, and we found our identity as a team, that's when things started kind of meshing. But the first time we played them at Johnson Central, we were without a starter and had a few injuries. We were still, like I said, we were still in a rough spot as a team. When we came over here, we were starting to play better, and you know, we just got down so early. I think we got down 22-3 in the first quarter. You know, and it was just, we dug ourselves too deep of a hole. We came back. We had played probably 7-8 games before we met them in the district finals, and we just kept getting better game by game. And the biggest improvement our team showed was our defense, and I think that was the biggest difference in the 2 games: our physicality and handling their physicality.
Well, Landon, I think that's all we got in the chat, and I know we got our last coach ready to go. So you might have some things to get ready for. Yeah. So we'll let you go. And
man, I sure appreciate you guys.
Yeah, we do too, and can't wait to see you in a few days.
Yeah,
all right.
You too. All right, have a good one, man.
All right. For those that have been with me the whole time, I think it's been good. We're glad we're able to do this for you. I know change sometimes is tough, but we're trying to do this the best we can, and we think this is a good way to get some sound bites for you. We are letting Jason Mays from Ashland Blazer, he is our 16th region, our final region, to let into this call. As soon as we get Jason in, we'll cue him up with how we're handling it and finish this thing out. All right. Jason, let me know when you can hear me. There we go. Jason, can you hear us? You're muted right now.
Can you hear me?
There we go. All right. We are here with Jason Mays of Ashland Blazer High School. They got knocked Central at the 8 o'clock game on Thursday night. Coach, are we okay with keeping everybody waiting that long, or is this a situation where you kind of wish you had one of the earlier slots?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know, our schedule this year has been so crazy, as has everybody's with the starts and stops. But one of the fortunate things our schedule this year has prepared us for is a lot of games in short periods of time. We've played a lot of tournament atmosphere games where, you know, there's been short turnaround and recovery time. So I don't think it'll be anything foreign to our guys if we happen to win Thursday night and have a short turnaround Friday. I mean, technically, if you had our time slot and you went all the way to the finals, you'd have 4 games in 3 days.
Yeah.
So, but that's part of what makes this a great tournament.
Well, we appreciate that. And Coach, appreciate you being on. We're doing this a little different because of the COVID protocols. We're knocking out those pregame interviews you might have been asked to do at the arena. This just allows us a little more flexibility So questions are going to come in through chat, and I'll relay them to you. It looks like we already got quite a few. Rhett Allred wants to know, what are your team's strengths?
We can shoot the ball a little bit.
There we go.
You know, we're very 6-footish. You know, I spent many years coaching college basketball, and we used to have what's called the all airport team, where when a guy gets, you're at the airport picking up a recruit and he steps off the breezeway, you're like, hey, that guy could play. You know, whether he could or not, he looked like he could. We don't have many of those all airport guys. So, you know, we're skilled though. You know, our strength is our guards, and we can shoot the ball. So I think we're all learning as basketball in the last probably 8 seasons has sort of been recreated from the top levels down, starting with the NBA, on the reliance of 3-point shooting. You know, we're fully bought into that type of play just because that fits our personnel. We're fast, you know, our tempo is a strength. And, you know, we call it pace and space. You know, we want to play with pace, and we think space is really hard to guard. So we want to create as much space as we can. But our ability to shoot the ball is our strength.
Tom Leach wants to know, how did your players become such good 3-point shooters?
Only if Tom gives me a tip for a horse race at Keeneland.
I'll relay that to him, see if he has anything to say in the chat. But yeah, maybe he thinks you taught him, I guess. I don't know.
You know, that's, first of all, you know, Tom, it has to come from within the individual. You know that as well as I do. So I'm fortunate to coach a bunch of kids who come from great families, who all love basketball. They love it to the point that they want to dedicate their time year round to improving their skill set at it. So that's where it starts. And then you got to let them have the opportunity to play, you know, that talent out. And so we let our guys have a lot of freedom offensively to shoot the ball in our flow, you know, as we play, whether it's against man defenses or zone defenses, it doesn't matter. That being said, we shoot a lot in practice. It doesn't make sense to me to have shooting as your strength, but not dedicate significant time in practice to working on that craft. Significant time being defined as probably 20 to 30 minutes of every practice.
Yeah, Tom says he's working on that for you, so he'll have those fixed. Now he does have some work for you. He wants to know some pronunciations. We're kind of doing that on some of these calls.
That's fine.
Villers.
Correct.
Okay. Freeze.
Correct.
And the last one is Gillum.
Correct.
Okay, it's my first 3 for 3, so I'm heating up. Brian Milam talks about Ashland's wonderful basketball history, but he wants to know, where does Dickie Martin or Mark Maynard rank your last 2 games?
Oh, man. I mean, that's a question I think they're going to have to answer, but I know this. Dickie was emotional, and so was Mark. Mark, you know, Mark's been active on social media about our recent games. For those of you on the call who don't know who those gentlemen are, Dickie Martin's been our radio broadcaster for, I think, 45 years. His father was our broadcaster before him, Dick Martin. And Dickie's worked the state tournament for years for another network as well. So a lot of people at the Sweet 16 are familiar with him. And then Mark Maynard was the sports editor for the Ashland Daily Independent for years, for decades. And he's retired, but he's still here and follows us. So they've not just the last 2 games, Brian, but just the last 3 seasons, and seeing the prominence of Tomcat basketball come back and what it's meant to this community. What a lot of people don't know is, you know, Ashland Oil, right? You know, AK Steel, Armco Steel, you know, those are gone now. You know, we're very fortunate to have Marathon here in the Catlettsburg refinery and the offshoots of that. But we're a community, I tell, a lot like Owensboro and a lot like Pikeville, we're reinventing ourselves as a community. The very fabric of which we were built is changing, and having some brevity during these changing times, where your local football team can win a state championship and your local basketball team can go undefeated last year and win back regional championships. The community is just really supportive and just enthralled in what we're doing right now. So I think Mark is riding that and enjoying that take precedent back in this community that's always supported the Ashland Tomcats.
That's great. Brian has got some more questions here. He wants to know the difference of this year's team to last year's undefeated team, if you try to compare the two.
Well, I think first of all, this is some coach speak for you guys that you don't like, but I've been careful not to compare. But you'd be a fool I'd be lying to you if I told you I didn't. Last year's team had 5 guards. We played 5 guards, and we really shot the ball well last year. We're shooting it as well this year. Just we don't shoot it from all 5 spots. So that's a big difference. Okay. There was a young man that played at Cabell Midland last year over in West Virginia. It's Cabell Midland's the largest high school in West Virginia. It's between Huntington and Charleston. And his mother is a physician, and she moved. They moved here to work for the King's Daughters system, our local hospital. And his name is Sean. Sean's relatively new to basketball, Sean Markham, but he's 6'8". He weighs about 190 pounds. We call him our 6'8" ginger. He's a redhead. And so we had to figure out a way to use his athleticism and his ability to rebound and his ability to block shots. So that was a new wrinkle that took us quite a while, to be honest with you, to figure out how to weave into what we were doing with this year's team. There's also been times we've played 2 bigs, what I call a big, Ryan Atkins and Tate Ashby at the 4 spot that, again, aren't natural shooters for the most part. Tate can shoot it a little bit, but they're still spot up shooters. So we had 5 guys that could shoot off the bounce, shoot off the pass last year that we started. This year we have 3. And then depending on the lineup, we've been starting a freshman named Xander Carter, and he's a guard. So sometimes we've been starting 4 guys. But that's the biggest difference, is the addition of Sean Markham and some size, and how we have to play differently with him in the game.
Mr. Leach was wondering, if you take shooting out of the picture, what qualities do you see in your team that makes you think you could make a run?
Something that's intangible. That's the connectivity that they have to one another. These kids love each other. And I mean that word in the full sense of it, love. They have been through a lot. Everybody was disappointed in the way the season ended last year, but our locker room on March 13th was a little bit different than others because of what we went through with the undefeated season, the first team with 2,000 wins, and the pressure and the media, and then for them not to go try to finish that. And that was tough. And so there's several ways that can go, but one of the ways that I was hoping it would go is they would bring them more together. And that's exactly what happened. So I've got a bunch of 14 to 18-year-old kids that come from great families that are absolutely the best high character kids any high school coach could ever coach. They're all great students. Our team GPA is above a 3.8. We got several kids that are over 25 ACT scores. They come from great families, and they're young men of faith, and they're just pleasure. They're unbelievable kids to coach. And so their togetherness and their character shine through in ways like toughness, composure. Just take our last 2 games. Colin Porter hit a 3-point shot to tie a game in regulation against West Carter. We won in overtime. And then, we come from 11 down with Colin Porter fouling out of the game. We're all beat and banged up, weren't playing very well. And we were 11 down with 4 to go, with 6 to go. And we ended up coming winning that game. It went into overtime. We ran away with it in overtime. So just the composure is evident in how they love one another, and they're connected to one another. I know that's sort of cliche-ish, but that is the honest truth. I mean, other than shooting the ball, it's our togetherness.
Well, it's definitely been the last 12 months that none of us will ever forget. And we're really glad we can come back and let some teams pick up where they left off and have some new blood in the tournament too. We'll definitely never forget those teams from last year.
Correct.
But you just be thankful for what we have. And thank you for those insights into your team coach. And we'll let you go. You're our last and final interviewee here. So on behalf of all the media who stayed around, we just appreciate your time, and it's going to be a fun week.
Thank you.
All right. All right, as Coach hops off the call to the media, that's going to do it. We'll wrap up this call now. I know earlier there was a lot of questions about how to get the downloadable file. We'll figure that out. Like we said, we're kind of doing some COVID type things on the that weren't planned from years prior. This is all new to us as well. So we'll get together and figure out the best way to get that to you all. And communication will probably likely come from Joe Ngolia, our communications director. So give us a minute. I know we are going to try to get this on our YouTube channel. It's just at KHSAA. But thank you so much. Everyone did an awesome job, and we'll see you this week.